Services Director, Natasha Bissell, and the members of her staff.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'd wait there just a moment, Natasha, with your staff. It's my pleasure at this time to issue a proclamation honoring recreation and community services, and also to declare the entire month of July as recreation and parks community service. Recreation and parks are extremely important to every community. They are certainly important to us. And in the city of Campbell, we do have a number of parks, but we're also surrounded by the Los Gatos Creek Trail, which allows residents to utilize property which is to the south and to the north of us, as well as our own city. We also are benefited in the northern part of the city with Hammond Park, which technically is in the city of San Jose, but we have many residents in that area as well. So, and the community service classes and programs that we have at our community center are outstanding and excellent. And I'm always impressed when I see the catalog that is printed periodically with the number of offerings that you have for people of all ages, from young toddlers all the way to senior citizens. So it's my pleasure to recognize you and to recognize this month.
While he's coming down, I'll just say we love Park and Recs.
Thank you very much.
I just want to thank the council for your continued support of honoring July as Parks and Recreation Month. Parks and Recreation are vital to thriving communities, and Campbell is known for all the wonderful parks that we provide, as well as the services we provide to our community. So thank you for your ongoing support.
Any comments from other members of the council? Councilmember Sixola.
I just want to say there are no favorite departments, but you guys are the most fun for sure.
And I want to thank you, Natasha, for your leadership of the department and the staff that you have. Always gracious and fun and willing to assist the residents of Campbell and through the various programs that you offer. And it's the best city in Santa Clara County as far as recreation programs and services. So thank you.
Absolutely. Just the scope of how much we do is incredible. I always get comments, and Natasha especially want to recognize the forward-thinking nature of how you're willing to advocate for the department in the interest of the city, and bring that for us. But thank you all for your continued work.
You know, as I said before, I love Park and Recs, and I especially like the upcoming concert series, and I've been able to enjoy those. So.
Thank you once again. We have no other communications and petitions, and we now go to oral requests. This would be the time on tonight's agenda for any member of the public to address the council on any item that's not on tonight's agenda. So if you would like to address the council, I do have one request from Susan Landry, and anyone else. I request that you consider filling out a card in advance and providing it to the city clerk. You're not required to do so, but at least signal me at the time so that I might call on you. So Susan.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. Susan Landry. I'm here to talk about home occupation business license requirements, and wanted to highlight that these requirements are so antiquated that it is very difficult to comply with them and still run a successful business from home. The last major update was in 2006. Technology and business practices have changed dramatically since then.
Currently, most changes to housing policies focus on the reduction of car usage. Home occupations do just that, no more commuting. Similar to the recent update to the beekeeping ordinance, I would like to ask council to add home occupation rules to staff's work plan. And may I also suggest that the Planning Commission could help, similar to what they did in making recommendations to the permit streamlining ordinance. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Refer the matter to staff for further follow-up with you on that.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak under oral requests? Okay, seeing none. We'll now move on to council announcements. So I have several announcements to share with you this evening, and they include the following. The City of Campbell invites you to the ribbon cutting ceremony for our new police building at 100 North First Street. I'm sure most of you know that it's a brand new building just right outside the council chambers here. We have come to the point in time where we're ready to cut the ribbon and complete the project on that building. That will complete the two major projects under Measure O. And that will be this Friday, July the 10th at 9 o'clock from 9 to 11. This measure was funded, of course, by the voters, a bond measure through Measure O. The facility is a direct result of the community's investment into public safety, and the event will feature brief remarks by several members of the city's staff. The second announcement is that movie nights are continuing once again. You can join us under the stars at John D. Morgan Park. You can bring lawn chairs, blankets, jackets, snacks, and so on. It's free. And this coming Friday, July the 10th, the quote, The Incredibles will be the featured film. The feature film can be seen it takes place at John D. Morgan Park at the Pony Baseball Diamond area. The third announcement is that we invite you to join us on Thursday nights for the 34th annual summer concert series, starting at 6:30. It goes from 6:30 to 8 through August the 27th. The very first concert will actually happen this Thursday, July 9th. And it will feature the group called Sonic Addiction. And on July 16th, it will be the Floor Shakers. The next announcement is the Chamber of Commerce is seeking volunteers to help the staff with its Relay for Life hospitality tent on January 11th, which is this Saturday, from 10 a.m. Straight through Sunday, July the 12th. This is an event that's been sponsored in Campbell for cancer research for many, many years. And there will be snacks that are offered, refreshments, and a welcoming place for all relay participants who can either choose to run or walk around the track. This is at the community center, of course, at the main track there. And if you'd like to volunteer for a shift, we ask that you please so notify the Chamber of Commerce. You can do so at info@campbellchamber.net. The History Happy Hour will occur. Come sip snacks and socialize and learn a little history. History Happy Hour is a lecture series at the Ainsley House, which you can learn about interesting topics, meet new people, and tour the Ainsley House as well. The lineup for these meetings will be on Friday, July 31st, August 28th, and September 18th. 3 different dates from 5:30 to 7. The admission is $25 per person. Registration is required. We request that you go to campbellmuseums.com for registration. And we also need to bring to your attention the fact that the Campbell swimming pool at the community center, which is very popular, will remain open all until August the 31st, Monday, at which time that evening it will close, and starting September 1st, the following day, it will remain closed. That pool has been there for many, many years, ever since Campbell High School was an operating high school. The high school closed in 1980. The pool was there for many years before that. It has sort of completed its useful lifespan. We've had a number of leaks in the plumbing that we have repaired over the years. And finally now it is at a point where it's just too much. And we have to undertake actually building an entire new pool and addressing it in a more significant manner. So we regret that the pool is going to be closed, but it will remain open through the balance of the summer, and we will cover all the classes that we've already advertised, as I mentioned, through August the 31st. And that concludes the council announcements. We now move to the consent calendar. These are items 7.1 through 7.9 that the council will take as a single item of business, unless a member of the council, a member of the staff, or a member of the audience, or someone online requests that we pull an item for individual discussion. Does anyone wish to pull an item from the consent calendar? Seeing none, I don't see anyone online either. So I would request a motion then.
I propose a motion to accept the consent calendar items 7.1 to 7.9.
I'll second.
The motion by Council Member Hines, second by the Vice Mayor Bybee, to approve the consent calendar. All those, we'll have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Scazola.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bybee.
Aye.
Mayor Furtado.
Aye, and I do need to notice and ask for general consent of the council. There is a desk item that you saw there, a correction of some dates, and that was for desk item 7.3. If that's your concurrence, we'll include that in the motion.
Yes, I concur.
I see no objection, so. Okay. We now go to public hearings and the introduction of ordinances. We will begin with item 8.1. So item 8.1 is the Lighting and Landscaping District LLA-1 for fiscal year 26-27, confirming assessments. And I need to read to you the following statement in that regard. This is the time and place set for the hearing on public comments on the engineer's report for the City of Campbell's Lighting and Landscaping Assessment District and the levy and collection of the proposed assessment for fiscal year 26-27. These proceedings are conducted pursuant to Lighting and Landscaping, to the Lighting and Landscaping Act of 1972. The engineer's report prepared by the city engineer consists of the boundaries of the assessment district, the proposed improvements and or maintenance and operation of the district, the estimate cost of those improvements and or the maintenance costs, and the proposed assessments upon those lots and parcels of land within the proposed district. Any one of these items may be subject to protests or endorsements. Should anyone wish to speak on this item, on any of these items under this agenda item, you are asked to clearly identify yourself and the property owned by you so that your statement may be correctly recorded. The hearing is declared open, and I will ask the city clerk to report on the various notices given in connection with the hearing, and also to ask the city clerk to report on written protests that may have been received, if any. And following the clerk's report, the city engineer is asked to provide a statement regarding the nature of the lighting and landscaping district, which will be followed by any public comments or testimony. So it's a regular procedure that we have to follow in order here. And so I will begin with the city clerk.
Notices have been published as required by the Landscaping and Lighting Act of 1972 and Section 54954.6 of the California Government Code. Affidavits and certificates of publishing are on file in my office. A copy of the engineer's report prepared by the city engineer was filed in my office on May 29, 2026, and has been open to public inspection since that time. No written protests have been received by the city.
Thank you. We will proceed now for the statement on behalf of the city engineer.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Roger Storrs, Public Works Department. The City of Campbell Lighting and Landscaping District is established annually to support the maintenance and operation of the city's parks, landscaping, public lighting, traffic signal systems, curbs, gutters, and sidewalks. Assessments proposed for fiscal year 2026, 2027 are as shown in the engineer's report and total approximately $1.2 million. The proposed fiscal year 2026, 2027 assessments are at the same rate as last fiscal year 2025, 2026. No increases in the rate are being proposed. Thank you.
Thank you. So the microphone is now open and available for public testimony. Should anyone wish to speak, you are asked to clearly, as I said before, identify yourself and the property owned by you so that your statement may be correctly recorded. Would anyone like to address the council on this matter? I'll ask the city clerk if there is anyone online.
There is not.
We have no request for public comments, so therefore I will close the public hearing and would request a motion and a second and a roll call vote.
I'll move that the city council adopt a resolution overruling protest, and there are none, approving the engineer's report, ordering the improvements, and confirming the diagram and assessments.
I'll second.
A motion by the Vice Mayor Bybee, and a second by Councilmember Hines. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Scazola.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bybee.
Aye.
Mayor Furtado.
Aye. Thank you. We now move to item 8.2. This is a public hearing also to consider the adoption of an interim ordinance superseding the prior interim ordinance implementing Senate Bill 450 of 2024, as modified by Assembly Bill 1061 of 2025, to revise historic resource eligibility provisions and the applicable two-unit developments and urban lot splits, to simplify subdivision regulations and to eliminate design standards for certain single-family residential zoning districts. In order to pass this measure, it would require a 4/5 positive vote of members of the City Council. Okay, both Councilmember Hines and myself have a potential conflict of interest in this matter. So I will start first with Councilmember Hines for his statement of recusal.
Yeah, I recuse this because I own a property, the estate that I manage owns a property within the Campbell Village.
And I will recuse myself from this particular measure due to the fact that I have a house in the historical residential district covered by this particular law and ordinance. So since two members of the City Council now have recused themselves, and since the measure requires 4 members of the City Council in order to participate in the hearing, we now have the rule of necessity invoked, and therefore both Councilmember Hines and I will draw straws. Whichever one of us gets the short straw will leave the council chamber for the purpose of the discussion, and the other member will remain present and participate and vote. So I'll ask the city clerk, please, to have us draw straws. No, it looks like it's me. So in order to conduct this hearing, I will turn the gavel over to the Vice Mayor.
Okay, I'd like to ask our senior planner, Daniel Fama, to come to the podium and present the staff report.
Thank you. Good evening. Before you is an interim ordinance to implement Senate Bill 450 as most recently modified by Assembly Bill 1061. So a little bit of history here. This is a part of legislation that began with SB 9, which was adopted in 2021. That law aimed to functionally end single-family zoning in California. It allowed for 2 primary dwellings on each single-family lot. It also allowed for single-family parcels to be subdivided in a ministerial process under what's known as an urban lot split. That law was changed again in 2024 by Senate Bill 450. So that law effectively required that cities standardize and flatten standards for single-family projects and these urban lot splits. Prior to that time, Campbell, like many cities, had kind of a separate development process for SB 9 projects, separately from traditional single-family development. So starting with that law, that practice effectively ended and became much more streamlined and flat, as was effectuated by an interim ordinance that was adopted by the City Council in January 2025. Later last year, the legislature and the governor adopted legislation, AB 1061, that made further revisions to the law. Specifically, this change was looking to target the applicability of SB 9 to historic resources. Prior to this law, effectively, the city, through its local police powers, could adopt a list of historic properties that are entirely exempt from urban lot splits into primary dwelling units. Under the new law, the exception is much more narrowed to individually designated landmarks and then non-landmark properties within historic districts, effectively meaning that properties that do not meet those criteria are effectively no longer protected under local historic preservation protocols. So therefore, the proposed interim ordinance before you would supersede the prior interim ordinance 2321 that had been adopted in 2025. It would also update the historic resource eligibility of the law and make other revisions pertaining to subdivision standards, objective design standards, and some more minor changes that we can quickly discuss here. So in terms of the law's effect to historic resources, functionally, we are looking at 27 properties that are located in the single-family zoning district that are currently protected by the city's historic preservation ordinance that functionally would no longer have such protection. So these properties may be demolished or altered in a manner that otherwise would have been prohibited earlier. However, 2 of these properties are covered by Mills Act contracts and are still subject to the terms of those agreements, which would protect their historic integrity. Further, as part of the overall update, staff is also making some recommendations to other revisions of the law. So as part of the current interim ordinance, the city did adopt fairly prescriptive subdivision standards that require all new lots to meet very specific shapes. And while that's fairly easy to do if you have a rectangular lot, there are many lots that don't have a regular shape, and those particular properties cannot functionally be subdivided. So based on a lot of feedback we've received, staff is recommending a pivot to how the city regulates subdivisions, going away from that type of prescriptive lot type requirement to a much more narrow mechanism that's going to effectively require that properties be subdivided by basically a straight line. Additionally, the ordinance would make various other revisions to subdivision standards dealing with some HCD compliance requirements and other miscellaneous revisions. And then with regard to single-family standards, as part of the change last year, the ordinance that was adopted imposed objective design standards in the 2 neighborhoods the city has historically had design review. That would be the Santa Barbara neighborhood and the Campbell Village neighborhood. Those standards were very prescriptive because state law requires that standards be objective in nature. And so that has the effect of the city functionally telling people you have to design your home in a very specific way with very specific materials. And sometimes there's a lot of pushback from residents who really don't like the city effectively designing their home in that manner. And recognizing in a lot of ways that because state law has put a lot of limitations on the city, what we're seeing is that higher density projects are effectively subject to lesser standards than single-family homeowners. So it's creating an equity situation. So staff is recommending eliminating those objective design standards, putting Santa Mas and Campbell Village basically at the same level as the rest of the city, and historically has not had any design standards. So these single-family homes would be regulated solely by development standards such as setbacks, height, and floor area ratio, which would remain unchanged. Some other revisions, easing standards pertaining to accessory structures, allowing homeowners who have homes that were built under legacy plan development approvals to do additions and remodels to the exterior of their homes, which currently have been limited, as well as some other technical revisions and additional definitions for added clarity. The staff does recommend that the City Council by a 4/5 vote adopt the proposed interim ordinance, which would go to effect immediately upon adoption. And with that, I'll take any questions the council may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Are there any questions of the council for Daniel? I have one, Daniel. Could you repeat the information about the impact of this on historic structures? What that means?
So there are basically 3 tiers of historic properties in the city. You have at the very top landmarks. And then below that, you have the Alice Avenue Historic District, which also includes landmarks, but there are properties within it that are not landmarks. And then the bulk of the historic properties, 89, are known as structures of merit. So of the 89 structures of merit, 27 of those are located within the single-family zoning district. So those 27 properties now under the law are not subject to the city's historic preservation requirements. And so those properties could be just simply demolished or altered in a manner that in the past would not be allowed, with the exception of 2 properties that are subject to Mills Act contracts, which are through a mutual agreement, they would be preserved.
And there's no way to protect those 27 properties?
Not through this action. The only way would be to expand the city's Mills Act program to entice people to voluntarily protect those properties in exchange for tax savings. But again, it's a very different policy decision.
Okay, thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I will open the public hearing and ask if anyone in the audience wishes to speak on this item. And you will have 2 minutes. And I have a speaker card from Darius Sarabji. If you'd like to come to the podium and speak.
Good evening, members of the City Council. My name is Darius Sarabji. I reside at 610 Craig Avenue, Campbell, California, in the San Tomas Area Neighborhood Plan. I spoke to you the last time this issue came up and brought a bunch of data from 30 years ago that still hasn't resolved inequities within that area where planned development zone owners have 65% floor area ratios, whereas regular single-family homeowners are only allowed 45, or briefly were allowed 50% from when we last tried to modify it in the stamped plan. Last time I came up here, gave you a bunch of documents. You didn't discuss anything. My hope this time is that you at least take a moment to discuss this or address it to city staff to look into it for the next time we do an interim approach on it. That's all I ask for. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next speaker is Richard Ward.
Good evening, council members. I'm Richard Ward. I live at 87 Llewellyn Avenue. Given these rules and regulations are now being modified, I have a request that a driveway coding be changed. At the moment, it's a 5-foot setback from the boundary with an 8-foot driveway space. I've done some views on my road. My neighbor doesn't follow this. 3 houses to my right don't follow this. And I could probably show you about 50 houses in the R16 zone that do not follow this. My background is I would like to have a driveway going along the boundary so I can get a car into my back lot, but the rules don't allow it at the moment. Given the ordinance is open at the moment, I was wondering if that's under consideration or could be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak on this item? And do we have anyone online?
Yes, we do have someone online. Lauren Jean Rice, would you like to speak? Lauren?
Hi there, yes. Can everybody hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much to the council. I will be brief. My comments specifically to this proposed interim ordinance are specific to Section 10, which are the objective design standards for the San Tomas area as well as Campbell Village. I'm the owner at 1440 Westmont. And I just recently actually went through this process of approving a new single family dwelling in the city. And frankly, I found the architectural standards to be quite understandable and quite flexible. I think it still allows very healthy differences for homes in the neighborhood. And I'm of the opinion that eliminating those would be quite unfortunate for a few reasons. I think the first of all is some of the design standards that are outlined currently are things like prohibiting rooftop terraces and decks, things like no more than 2 paint colors per wall, no more than 2 roof materials. I find these to be personally not boundary pushing whatsoever. I would not want to live near, if I can help it, something with a rooftop terrace in a very open neighborhood that is the San Tomas area. So I just think it would be quite a letdown, truly, to get rid of these. Los Gatos has their own design standards. Saratoga just adopted their village standards in April of this year. I think it would just be a loss, if Campbell were to eliminate these in their entirety. A second part of this, as we all know, is, Campbell is going to be building per the state's requirements, well over 1,000 housing units. And taking into consideration how this will be changing the landscape of the city, I just think is another reason to actually keep these. These are not massive neighborhoods that we're talking about, but they do have their unique character. And I just would urge the council to consider keeping these and, their unique addition to our city.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, and then we have a desk item that was.
Yeah, I was just going to bring it up under council comments.
Okay, thank you.
When you're ready.
Are there any other people on line that wish to speak? No. Okay, anyone else in the audience? Okay, I will close the public hearing and bring it back to City Council for discussion. Before I do that, Daniel, would you be able to respond to the 2 speakers, the questions that were raised regarding the items that they addressed?
Sure. I mean, so there are components of how the city regulates single-family zoning that could be considered as part of the council action. It likely would require the council to continue the hearing so that we could actually draft some specific language. So the gentleman regarding the driveway. So currently, single-family homes require that a driveway have a 5-foot setback from the side property line. That standard has been in effect probably for about 20 years. There's many standards that really do go back that far. The city's current zoning code was functionally adopted in its current form in 2004 and 2006. So there are standards from that era. Similarly, the floor area ratio is arguably somewhat low. It's 45%. And in consideration of how much development capacity now you can see, it's like a starter home project or even a single family home with multiple ADUs. That 45% also does reflect kind of the development approach from 20 years ago. I mean, if that's something the council would like to increase, again, that could be under consideration. With regard to design standards, I mean, if that really is a value judgment for the city council to discuss, there is not a right answer to how these areas should be regulated. There are obviously different opinions. I mean, we have the standards that we currently have. We could look at paring some of them back as opposed to the entirety of the standards. I mean, if there's a preference to preserve standards pertaining to privacy and then And we can look at just keeping those, or if there are requirements that this council believes are more important, such as roof material or building color. But that direction, we can try to come back at a subsequent meeting.
Thank you very
Let
much.
me, if I could add one other question that I got from one of my constituents, Dr. Ostrowski, was commenting on the urban lot splits, where it would require a 1,200 square feet and each lot 40% of the area of the original parcel. Her concern is that the vast majority of the houses are smack dab in the middle of the lot, so it doesn't allow for a lot split if you take 40% of the area of the original parcel. So it's just a consideration to be able to have flexibility in that is the point that she's making.
The 60-40 split is actually a requirement of state law. So we actually could not allow for a subdivision to fall below that, I believe.
Member Lopez?
Daniel, sorry if I missed this just now, but I heard you address the objective design standards in the floor area ratio. What about the comment referring to the driveway along the property line?
Yeah, so I mean, that setback requirement goes back 20 years. It's probably for aesthetics and maybe somewhat stormwater drainage, but there's no particular requirement that says we have to have that setback standard. The gentleman is correct. There are many, the vast majority of properties do not have a 5-foot setback from their driveway, since most of those driveways predate that standard. That's also one of those kind of value judgment questions for the council.
Thank you, Daniel. Comments from council? Councilmember Hines?
Yeah, thank you very much, and excellent work on this. I have voiced, just talking about the Campbell Village, I've voiced concerns to the CVNA for years on the Campbell Village area plan being in conflict with state laws. I think we must abide by state laws. You're mentioning one of them already, with objective standards. Any neighborhood needs to be able to build on these state laws and to be able to build housing and focus on the community to be able to support the community, but we have to abide within the state laws, and it generates tremendous conflict when it's not objective, and many of the points, particularly in Campbell Village, are quite subjective in their representation, which generates conflict within the community. So I encourage the staff to continue with the interim ordinance, being able to have consistency of across the city for objective standards to state laws, potentially also addressing some of the how's that? Potentially addressing some of the concerns that were brought up by other speakers. Thank you.
Councilmember Castillo?
Yeah.
Councilmember Lopez?
Daniel, do you mind coming back up just one? A couple of the questions raised, you mentioned really are value judgments. Can you walk us through what it would look like to bring that, because presumably it's not may not be able to make a final decision tonight, but what would it look like for us to have more of a discussion about that?
Well, with regard, I mean, I think the area that's probably the most complicated would be the design standards.
Yeah, and just to dive in a little bit more, can you walk me through the thinking and recommending simplifying that, just moving in that direction versus the different options that we have had?
And some of this largely reflects about an equitable issue. You do have larger developers who are coming in, exercising various provisions of state law, including density bonus waivers, that are effectively able to get projects approved by the city and just disregard many of our local standards, and that's their right under state law. At the same time, we have objective standards that are applying to single-family homeowners that, some, I mean, clearly not all, find somewhat challenging to adhere to. And so on one hand, the homeowner is having to really go through a very detailed list of requirements, while a developer can just say, here are my waiver request, I don't want to comply. And so that seemed to be creating a fairness issue. So the staff recommendation would be basically recognizing that and just rip off the Band-Aid and simply say, maybe it's time for objective design standards to not really apply in the way that historically they have.
And I guess just to take that one, from my perspective, I think it'd be a little premature for that. I've heard generally positive feedback from people who've had to go through the process, both informally and up here on the dais, through objective design standards. There's a lot of work to develop them. And I think it's a very thoughtful process that led to it. And I wouldn't want to throw that out. I think we could evaluate at a later date if it continues to be overly onerous, but that's not what I've heard to date. So while I appreciate the fairness aspect, and I think staff is coming from the right place, I personally think we should keep some of that work that really was intended to keep the characteristics that are special about Campbell aesthetically, while balancing the flexibility, the broad range of options, and making it objective for anyone to go through the process. So there's an equity component within that already that we're trying to get at, and so I don't want to lose that piece. I'd be curious to hear how other council members feel, but I think it's something that if we continue to, if we do hear concerns, which I haven't heard, we can discuss at a future date.
Councilmember Hines?
Yeah, I certainly concur with Councilmember Lopez on having the objective standards. I feel though that from the specific of the Campbell Village plan, that's so outdated and in conflict with state and city ordinances that it should apply, the objective standards that the city should apply across the city.
Yeah, and to clarify, so the current interim ordinance that was adopted last year, so that is the ordinance adopting, in part, the current objective design standards. That replaced the prior subjective standards for the Santa Moss area and Campbell Village area. Now, the current objective standards were developed to try to take the spirit of what the subjective standards were trying to accomplish and put it into kind of an objective format. And so that's currently what's here. We are already past the point of dealing with the subjective design standards of the past. But I would just also note, I mean, if it is council's pleasure to retain objective standards, it probably would also be worthwhile for the standards to be refined, regardless of kind of the value judgment of it. In practice, one part that has been somewhat challenging is that the standards were originally developed to deal with brand new single family homes, but they also technically apply to additions. And that has created a little bit of a disconnect for a variety of technical reasons. So if that is the council's direction, we probably should revisit that a little bit so that it's clear when the standards apply to additions and when they don't.
I think I would encourage the staff and the council to continue to have the discussion around the objective standards on the points that you just made, as well as the additional points that we heard from the speakers to refine and maintain the objective standards that refine the ones that are outdated and utilize the ones that make sense to continue it.
Yeah, I think that would be reasonable. I don't think that was the primary intention when we were having those discussions around developing those standards. And I would welcome increasing flexibility without getting rid of them. So
we probably would also seek then direction on particular, I mean, the driveway standard is fairly de minimis, but the floor area ratio is probably a fair point of discussion for the council. So currently, the city regulates building area by what's known as floor area ratio. It's basically the value of a building's total floor area divided by the lot size. Currently, that's 45%. In the past, it was actually possible to go up to 50% through a subjective process. Because subjective processes were no longer allowed, that mechanism was actually removed with the prior ordinance. So right now, it is at a hard cap of 45%. Now, if the council would like to see that number increased, that could be, again, also incorporated into further revisions to the draft.
So it sounds like what I'm hearing is that we're not ready to make a decision this evening on this. But I want to ask Daniel, is there a time component to this to extend or to adopt the interim ordinance like some of the other?
No, I mean, there is no time, pressing time issue at the moment. I mean, there are a lot of property owners who are eager to move ahead with their particular projects, but the current interim ordinance is in effect for, I believe, until January. So we do have time to look at further revisions.
And I would just add, I would be very interested in having the discussion around that higher floor area ratio and moving that up. I think for us to make an informed decision, we need a little bit more information about the trade-offs, but I think that'd be a worthwhile discussion.
Yeah, I would agree on that. I remember talking about it at the Planning Commission when I was on that. There was constant discussion about floor area ratio. So
yeah,
being able to have a definitive objective approach would be quite effective to be able to have that conversation. Thank you.
And as far as the driveway, it seems like we're not consistently applying what the regulations are now. So it seems like we should have a little more flexibility on the driveway.
Yes, I mean, and it's not a standard that's found in every community, and in the higher density projects, you do have driveways that are closer than 5 feet. Again, kind of have a increasing disconnect between how we regulate higher density projects and lower density projects.
And I just want to make sure that the individuals that are looking to move forward with their projects, there's not an inhibition. They're not inhibited without having this. The ordinance is in place. They can move forward with their projects.
Well, no. So currently, particularly with individuals who are seeking to perform urban lot splits, the current standards are limiting their ability to do that. So they have been waiting for an update to the ordinance that would revisit the subdivision standards. So if we continue the hearing and revisit the design standards, I mean, that will of course cause a delay for them.
Councilmember Piazzolla?
Thank you. I was just wondering if it was possible to do the reverse where we do pass this and then revisit, another time for the design standards, like soon, so that allowing for the people who are eagerly waiting, to move forward so they can move forward, and then we revisit after the fact. You know what I mean?
Bill, wouldn't that be adopting two sequential interim ordinances?
Yes, you could not do that on an interim basis. You could do that as part of the permanent ordinance when that comes back to you.
Okay, so there is another opportunity for us to.
There will be another opportunity eventually. The question would be one of timing.
Okay, well, I'm a little reluctant to hold up. I agree with your sentiments, guys, but I wouldn't want to hold up anyone who's eager to get their project going.
I would concur with Mr. Casola that I know that there's a property right in my district that is quite keen on being able to move forward with it. So.
I know, but
I guess what I'm hearing we'd like to do is move forward with, let's see if we could move forward with this ordinance, knowing that when the final version that we could review the objective design standards in the final version. Is that feasible?
Well, it seems to me that staff can correct me if I'm wrong, but that moving forward with this would then get rid of the objective standards and increase the flexibility. So it seems like that's intentional with some of what we've discussed up here.
Bill, can they read into the record or reference? We have a red line version of the current interim ordinance that shows the strikeouts. Could they reference that as part of their action to adopt the new ordinance?
The council could reference just about anything, but I'm not sure what the purpose of that is.
Well, to the extent that if they wanted to adopt the interim ordinance with the objective design standards being brought back into it.
Or are you saying those are redlined out right now?
Well, yeah, because it's a new ordinance. They're not currently in the draft. So trying to see if there's a way we can move them into the draft through a motion.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure without actually taking a look at that and seeing what gets put back in and whether there's a conflict with anything that was changed.
That's true. If not, we can return to your next council meeting with your intended direction and amended ordinance.
So it would be the August 6th meeting that we would, 7th we continue to?
I believe it's August 3rd.
August 3rd.
But between now and then, we'd have to do the amendments and bring it back.
Which would
So that would be,
publish the driveway and the objective standards and
yeah, I mean, the easiest lift would be to basically maintain the objective design standards as they are. And then eliminate the driveway setback and just bring that back to the council in August. And then I guess do for a broader conversation on floor area ratio and maybe further revisions to the objective design standards to another time.
that makes sense to me. However, my
Just
colleagues feel.
just a clarification that the ordinance right now that we have in front of us does not include the objective design standards.
Correct.
Okay, so I would concur that we want to defer to have it included back in per the conversations that we had here.
And including the driveway.
Yeah, and including the driveway.
So if there's no further discussion, could I get a motion to direct that? Or do we need a motion, Bill?
Yes, yeah, you would need first to reopen the public hearing and then continue this to August 3rd is the date I'm here.
Okay. So at this point, I'm going to reopen the public hearing on item, lost me. 8.2, an interim ordinance superseding prior interim ordinance, implementing Senate bill, et cetera, et cetera. I need to read the whole title, Bill. And then I would need a motion from the council to continue the item to.
I'll motion to continue it, item 8.2.
And there's enough direction from our discussion to staff.
Motion was to continue it to August 3rd.
To include the objective standards and the driveway revision. And
With the floor area ratio and
to be discussed
at a later
date. Okay, great. With that, I'll take a roll call.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Scazola.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bidey.
Aye. Thank you all.
Okay, we'll continue here now. We will now move to hear the next 5 items under public hearings and the introduction of ordinances. I'd like to mention at the very beginning that each of these items as public hearings will be taken separately. And the council actually, in this case, enters a different role for itself. This now becomes a judiciary proceeding. As such, every person who wishes to address the council on this matter must be sworn in. The city clerk will administer the oath of office, I should say the oath of the proper oath to be sworn in if you wish to provide testimony on any one of the next 5 subjects. So we'll now move to item 8.3. This is the public hearing to consider the adoption of a resolution revoking the business license and tobacco retailer permit for California Cigar and More No. 3, located at 2145 South Winchester Boulevard in Campbell. I will now ask for the staff report on this matter. I think Rob Eastwood, our Community Services Director, will give the staff report. And Mr. Eastwood, you need to be sworn in.
Yes. Raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members, Rob Eastwood, Community Development Director. Well presented, Mayor, on the entrance to this item. This is a bit different. You have 5 items before you that are very similar in nature. The circumstances on each are a bit different. I'll do a little bit more to tee up the item, just to prepare the council for the 5, what to expect on 5 items. Again, broadly before you tonight, you're considering revocation of business licenses for 5, I'll call them smoke shops, businesses that are licensed to sell tobacco products. Of those 5, 3 of them also include an appeal hearing. So under Campbell's municipal code, at the administrative level, we've revoked or had an intent to revoke the tobacco retailer permit for 3 of the businesses. I'm sorry, 5 of the businesses. 3 of those have issued an appeal. So tonight you'll consider 5 businesses. The first 3 will be a combination of a business license revocation and an appeal of the tobacco retailer permit revocation. The last 2 businesses did not appeal the revocation of the tobacco retailer permit. It's solely the business license. And as we get through each of those, I'll represent that just to set the stage. On each of these cases, as I'll present the documentation and further evidence and testimony can be provided by your police department. The revocation recommendation is based on documented sales or presence of drugs or illegal products at each of these 5 businesses as documented by our police officers. Again, the first 3 that you'll be considered tonight, California Cigar and More number 3, Hayes Downtown Smoke Shop. Hayes Smoke Shop will be a combination of a revocation of a business license and an appeal hearing on the tobacco retailer permit. As mentioned, we'll have swearing of any testimony you receive tonight. Per the Campbell Municipal Code, of course, you can receive any and all testimony and evidence presented by the business owners in their defense of perhaps keeping the licenses. The appeal hearing before you on the tobacco retailer permit is de novo. De novo means you're not held to evidence that was presented in the past before the appeal. Any evidence presented tonight you can consider in your hearing. I will note you did receive some very late correspondence this afternoon from the business owner of 2 of the smoke shops. Want to make sure you did receive that. As part of my presentation, I will respond to some of the objections and issues that were brought up in that email. And again, I'll be presenting each of the items as your community development director. Of course, I am supported by our very capable police department, Chief Gary Berg, Captain Ian White, and Detective Benjamin Palmer, all here provide support and testimony.
Rob, I just want to make sure.
Yes.
No, we're only taking testimony in the first one tonight. So you have to do these sequentially.
We are doing one at a time.
Okay.
Yeah. Each time you receive any testimony, though, you'll the person providing testimony, staff or otherwise, would have to be sworn in. One last precursor before I go into each. As you'll see tonight, the evidence presented before you references the sale of drugs or illegal products from each of these businesses. Just as a sort of glossary up front, when you see these terms, the first one, psilocybin, I think I'm pronouncing that right, is a serotonin receptor, produces hallucinogenic effects, often called mushrooms or magic mushrooms. It's a Schedule I substance. That's the most prohibited under federal law. And its sale is both a violation of federal and state law. So if you see that referenced as being eligible for sale by the businesses. THC cannabis, the city council is well aware of, is prohibited for sale in Campbell, retail sales and prohibited for sale in Campbell under Campbell's municipal code. Last but not least, in each, but if not all of the cases, you'll see documented evidence of flavored nicotine, selling nicotine on site under California state law, health and safety code section as shown on the screen. That is prohibited in California. And the intent of that is to keep flavored tobacco out of targeting youth, teens with those flavored products. So all 3 of these products are illegal either at the federal, state, or local level. Starting with your first revocation hearing. So this is item 8.3. Again, we'll go sequentially 8.3 to 8.7. The first item before you is California Cigar and More, number 3, located at 2145 South Winchester, has operated under a business license and a tobacco retailer permit. On January 20th, 2026, earlier this year, there was an inspection of the business by Campbell police officers. The officers were offered for sale products containing psilocybin and flavored tobacco. Upon further investigation of the site, the officers did discover a hidden room behind the retail area. In total, they confiscated 2,274 flavored tobacco items and 120 psilocybin and cannabis products on the site. Separately, earlier that month, the police documented a forced entry, a burglary of the business. I believe the suspects did get away. Does prevent some evidence that if there is knowledge of illegal drugs and products on site, it could present a hazardous nuisance. The administration, under my signature, sent a notice to revoke, based on these violations, a notice to revoke the tobacco retailer permit to the business owner on June 3rd. Under Campbell's Municipal Code, they have the right to request an appeal and a hearing before you. We did receive that appeal on June 16th. Again, your action tonight for California Cigar and More, number 3, is both consider revocation of the business license and a de novo hearing on appeal of the tobacco retailer permit. Again, based on the documented illegal drugs found on site by police officers, staff is recommending that council take 2 actions tonight: revoke the business license, that at least 4 of the 5 findings as shown on the screen, including the operation of the business is contrary to the public health, safety, welfare, and morals. It's a violation of the penal code, a misrepresentation of the material fact in which they applied for the license, which was not to sell or have those illegal drugs on site, and that it does constitute a public nuisance. And in addition, staff is recommending that you deny the appeal, uphold the revocation of the tobacco retailer permit, as there is evidence that there is a violation of local, state, or federal law applicable to tobacco products, specifically the over 2,000 flavored tobacco products that were confiscated on site. In summary, that is staff recommendation to revoke the business license and tobacco retailer permit and deny the appeal. I'm available for questions, and again, our police force is here also.
Thank you. First, I'll ask if there are any questions by members of the council. We apparently have no questions at this point. So the first step here is to invite the appellant or the applicant or their representative to present comments to the council if you wish. And if so, you have 5 minutes to speak as the appellant. Yes, please come forward. Just sort of touch the microphone, the little microphone. There you go. Thank you.
1 second.
Sure.
Please raise your right hand.
Yes.
Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. First of all, I just want to take responsibility for what happened. This business was poorly managed. I can argue about what happened and how this happened, but I won't. I'm just going to take full responsibility, and I'm just asking for another chance before you guys revoke my license. This is my livelihood. This is how I support my family, and I just want another chance before you guys revoke my license. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any questions?
I believe so. You can, if someone else gives testimony, you can come back for an additional moment of speaking if you like. So I will, for this particular matter, 8.3, open the public hearing and ask if anyone would like to speak on this matter. Is there anyone online? No. Okay, so I will close the public hearing. Sir, you can come back and make some additional comments if you wish, but it's totally up to you. Okay. So I will close the public hearing completely now and return the matter to the city council for review and or action.
I do have questions for either for staff or for PD as it may be relevant. This one stood out in that it did have psilocybin products on site. Does that add an additional, as I believe one of the other businesses did, but does that add an additional level of seriousness to the findings given its federal status?
Robbie Eastwood, Community Development Director again. I would believe you'll see 5 cases with different evidence. I'd say in this case, we have evidence of the sale of 3 illegal products, psilocybin, THC cannabis, and also flavored tobacco. So I'd say that, assuming that's a much more serious offense than maybe just one of those items. But if there's any more testimony needed by the Campbell Police, you can ask them.
Is it possible to get a staff report, PD report?
Yeah, that'd be great. I may have an additional follow-up question.
Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. I believe you're asking about the seriousness of the offense. In regards to the psilocybin, that is a felony in California, whereas the other offenses being the marijuana and THC products is a city ordinance, and the flavored tobacco is a misdemeanor. So to answer your question, yes, it is a much more serious offense, and it would carry a heavier sentence for the people that are selling it.
City attorney, you can comment on this if this is outside the scope of what we have to consider here, but I read through all the documents, I read through the police report. I was concerned that in this case, it seems like the employees were being charged, which may be appropriate, but not the people in charge of the business. I'm just wondering how that plays into this hearing, if at all.
Yes, for purposes of licensing ordinances in general and the ones before you, the owners of the business are responsible for the actions of their employees. And that was your question. And yes, you can consider the violation, other law violations, determining whether or not to revoke the licenses.
And was there an additional charge outside of what we read in the police report for the owners of the business under?
We did not file criminal charges against the owner of the business. In speaking with the district attorney, they typically would not file on something like that since they weren't present.
Okay. I think that's all my questions.
I have a question. So the report says that there were complaints received. How many complaints? Who complained? Was it just a random inspection of the property, or?
So I'm not personally aware of the direct complaints that we received. That was something that was informed by my supervisor. I typically lead all of the tobacco enforcement for the city, and I was made aware that we had received at least one complaint. And there's a business and profession code that allows us to do random inspections up to one per day of these facilities, and that is what the authority we use to do the inspection was.
And is the revocation a permanent action? I mean, would they be open? Have the ability to open another establishment?
Robbie Eastwood, Community Development Director again. Under Campbell's municipal code, the revocation of the tobacco retailer permit would prohibit them from opening under another permit for at least 1 year.
In that regard, though, we do have a moratorium on smoke shops, so I wondered if you might comment on that.
We do. Very astute, Mayor Furtado. We do have a moratorium on smoke shops. It prohibits new smoke shops coming in to Campbell. A smoke shop, and I clarified this to our staff, and check on our city attorney. Under this instance, in the same location, technically, if it was revoked, could reopen in 1 year. Now, it is staff's intent, you currently have a moratorium on new smoke shops, tobacco retailer permits between now and at least a year from now to bring back a permanent ordinance that would dictate and regulate how many smoke shops are allowed in the city. But under our current moratorium, if the tobacco retailer permit was revoked and there was no further action, they could reopen potentially within 1 year.
In the same location.
In the same location, yes, not a different location.
Any other questions? What is the pleasure of the council?
I would propose a motion, and in particular because of the psilocybin, to revoke accept the staff recommendation.
I will second the motion. This psilocybin is a Schedule I drug. Schedule I drugs in the Federal Register are prohibited from possession by anyone, let alone selling. So I'll second the motion. Is there further discussion on this motion? Yes.
I would just like to say that I very much know the feeling of, when you unfortunately hire incompetent people and they do things outside of your vision. So to me, this is difficult because we all agreed to the moratorium and now we have these violations. And I believe we did express that we wanted more inspections. This is what we wanted. So we got the news now, far more than I would have thought are out of compliance, as we'll see in the next 4 or so as well. So we're going to be doing a lot of repeating here over the next few items, but I'm not exactly sure how to vote on this because to me, it sounds like it would be a year gap if we do this. And then, I'm assuming he doesn't own the building. So then someone can move in there in between the year. And then since he has to open up in that exact location, that basically means he can't open again. I'm understanding this correctly. Am I anyone in disagreement of that? Right. So I'm just saying that I'm not sure how to vote on this matter myself. I might end up abstaining because I have deep sympathy for the business owner. However, I do acknowledge that, his employees were dabbling with illegal substances, which we do not want in the community. So yeah, I don't know what to say. I wish that it seems like I can just see where this is going. And it seems like this means we're putting this man out of business for good, at least in Campbell. That's what it sounds like to me. So just putting that thought out there. I really don't know how to vote on any of these, quite frankly.
I just have to comment, and I'm really trying to limit myself to factual statements. Again, I read through every document and this very closely because I take it seriously. And I'm not going to get into specific names or details of individuals, even though these are private documents. But I want to commend the excellent work of our police that was clearly exemplary in following procedure, going through this and carefully documenting multiple cases. I don't believe it's fair for an owner, and I'll just speak in broad terms generally as you were doing, but for an owner, just put the blame on lower level employees. In this case, these were very young individuals without a lot of power in this situation or in their situation in life. And I just don't believe it's fair to put that blame down on those who are at least positioned to do something about it. And I just personally, looking at the facts, do believe that the owner has to take responsibility in this case.
Well, my opinion, of course, is that it is the owner's responsibility. He has taken responsibility for it. And I think the proper action is, I'm sorry, but to revoke the permit. So I'll ask for any further comments and then we'll need to vote on this matter.
I do want to thank the owner for taking accountability. The decision that I've just voiced are the decision, but I encourage the business owner to take another direction and work that through.
If there's no other comments, Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Scazola.
Abstain?
Vice Mayor Bybee.
Aye.
Mayor Furtado.
Aye. So the matter is judged revocation. Is there any further action I should ask the attorney on this matter? Do we need to take on this matter?
No further action is necessary.
Thank you. We now move to item 8.4. And 8.4 is a public hearing to consider the adoption of a resolution revoking the business license and tobacco retailer permit for Hayes Downtown Smoke Shop located at 469 East Campbell Avenue in Campbell.
Good afternoon, Mayor Furtado, honorable council members, Rob Easter with you again, the second of your 5 revocation hearings. As mentioned, this is Hayes Downtown Smoke Shop, 469 East Campbell. Item before you is both by business license revocation and the appeal of the decision to revoke the tobacco retailer permit. The evidence before you is on March 5th, 2025, an inspection of the property by Campbell Police identified a large amount of flavored tobacco products for sale. Campbell Police also identified a hidden room within the business. In total, Campbell Police seized over 4,900 tobacco flavored items on the property. As mentioned, tobacco flavored items are prohibited per state law as they target youth and teens to use tobacco products. For history, we did send an intent to revoke the tobacco retailer permit on June 3rd. We did receive an appeal on June 15th. Thus, the item before you tonight is both the appeal hearing and the business license revocation.
Any questions by members of the council?
Sorry,
on this item,
still finishing up, Mayor Furtado. Sorry about that.
Pardon me, you paused. I thought you were done.
I will recognize this is the item and the item behind it. You do have a desk item, same business owner on 2 properties. You did receive an email correspondence late in the day today. The email identifies a series of issues and objections related to the noticing, errors in the resolution, insufficient timing to prepare for this hearing, requesting more timing, a request for more time to evaluate evidence, and the wanting to obtain counsel to defend and support the business owner. Staff's response, I verified with city clerk. We did send out all notices in accordance with requirements under the Campbell Municipal Code. Sent 10 and 5 days prior to this hearing. There is a very minor clerical error in the resolution. In the header, it does list a different business. And if you do go forward with staff recommendation to revoke the business license, I'd request you read into the resolution a minor, very minor amendment, the business name in the header of that resolution. I will say with respond to request for more time for evidence, the visit to the property by Campbell Police occurred on March 5th, 2025. Business owner was aware of this visit and the confiscation of evidence. It's been well over 1 year since that happened. The business owner could have requested information, evidence, anything from Campbell Police with respect to that. Again, it's been over a year since that inspection. We did send a notice of intent to revoke the tobacco retailer permit over a month ago and could have received a request for more information. And again, in your administrative record and in your agenda you've had since last week, the full police documents available to you. With that, staff does believe, based on the presence of over 4,900 items seized, illegal flavored tobacco items, that the council can make at least 3 of the 5 findings to revoke the business license based on public nuisance, contrary to public health, safety, and welfare, and a violation of the penal code. In addition, as flavored tobacco is illegal to sell under California state law, you can revoke the tobacco retailer permit. With this, staff recommendation is before you. If you are willing to go forward with adoption of the resolution revoking the business license and tobacco retailer permit, we'd recommend you do a very minor amendment to the resolution acknowledging the business name in the resolution. With that, I'm available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Yes.
I have a question. Rob, on the email that we received from the owner, item number 7.
Yeah.
revocation is not authorized for a first violation under the city's own code. Is that?
You're talking about, it's titled under item 8.5, the title at the top.
No, in the email that we received from this person, item number 7.
Yes, I know what you're saying, but the.
It's
It's mistaken though, because it refers to both 8.4 and 8.5.
Okay.
They just listed 8.5. But
Okay,
it
so
is the
this
relevant
email is
property.
relevant to this item.
Based on the business owner and the reference business, it's relevant to this item and the subsequent item.
469 East Glenbrook.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
oh,
So
no, go
item
ahead.
number 7
Yep.
in this email, where it talks about revocation and that there's steps that could be taken to acknowledge that not to revoke the permit, but that we could suspend it. Is that accurate? Is that what our code says?
That would be an option for a temporary suspension, would be one option. Also, there are monetary fines that can be imposed, which is an additional option. Or, I mean, the fines can be imposed on top of a revocation or a suspension as well.
And is that something that the staff would recommend?
Staff recommendation is before you. I would note in the code under that section, it does reference another part of the code that speaks to selling of tobacco to underage. You do have those options, but it speaks to selling of tobacco to those who are underage. Broadly, as there's violations of state law by selling flavored tobacco, I think it gives you broader options. But as Attorney Seligman mentioned, you do have those options before you also.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just had a question on the desk item we have here would be page 3, item 7, so on the final page, but there's a claim here. I just want to know, the veracity of this claim, if it's true or not, but that apparently the permit was issued in 2020, October 6, 2020, and then the claim here is that this was before California's flavored tobacco ban took effect, which was, I guess, December 21st, 22, according to this. And so this person feels that there was nothing to disclose, and I understand it was a huge amount of product. And so I'm kind of trying to understand if that's accurate at all, first of all, if there's any truth to that. I'll start with that.
Swear in or again?
Already been, I think you're good.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, could you repeat? You said that, what was the initial claim?
In this desk item that we have here, there's a claim that the flavored tobacco ban took effect on this certain date, and then that his permit or something allowed him or her, I'm not sure, whoever, to have those items, like almost like it was grandfathered in kind of a thing. So I want to know if that's accurate or not.
So I think what the business owner is referring to in this is that there was some sort of ambiguity between whether a business that has a wholesale license could still possess flavored tobacco products to be sold like out of state online. And
interesting.
That has been clarified to now that they cannot.
Okay.
However, I would just like to point out in this case, when I spoke to the business owner on site, he made a comment to me that the only way that his business would stay in business in the city is if he was to retail these flavored tobacco products at his location. He said he cannot make enough money selling legitimate items, and that's why he had been doing it. Also, when we looked at the areas that he claimed to be wholesale, there was a bunch of boxes that had been opened with like the individual packs of like 5 or 10 items that have items 1 or 2 missing. That's clearly not wholesale. And furthermore, for this location in particular, the display floor primarily had legitimate items displayed. However, they had a small corner of items that were technically flavored tobacco items, but they were labeled ambiguously, so that it's to conceal the fact that they're flavored. However, people that use these products can come in, they see that, and they know that this name, Blueberry Cloud or whatever, Blue Cloud is blueberry flavored, and then that is kind of the signal for them to ask for all the items that were then being accessed in the back of the shop. And in amongst the debris and everything, the garbage that he had back there that was outside of the room that was hidden. And it was actually a pretty clever hidden room. It was very well set up to disguise its identity. But in that packaging, you could see there were flavored tobacco packages that had been opened and discarded. So they were actively selling them and using them on the premises. So I believe that it was the owner's intent to try and skirt this by using his wholesale license and get away with selling these items.
I really appreciate you painting that picture for us. Thank you so much.
I just have a brief follow-up to your remark. My understanding is that the possession alone, even if is illegal, and to sell it outside into a legal state or legal area is itself illegal, because the point of sale is from a place where it's already illegal to possess it and sell it. Am I correct in that?
So to clarify, the possession of a person, like for a person to possess one of these flavored tobacco items, is not illegal. The possession to sell them at one of these sites is illegal. And he was claiming that the wholesale location was separate, being in the back of the business versus the front of the business being his storefront. And at the time of this violation, it was technically illegal, but there was some ambiguity that was trying to be clarified that had to do with the flavored tobacco list being published. And essentially, it was not being enforced by the state because the state had not published the flavored tobacco list. However, all of these items that we're seizing are clearly flavored, whether a determination had been made or not on if they're flavored by the state for that list.
Thank you. So I have a procedure that I need to follow. Yeah, I have a procedure I need to follow on this matter. So I will invite the appellant to speak first, if you wish, or the owner or the representative. And as such, as the appellant, you can actually speak for 5 minutes. So if you'd like to speak, if you are the appellant or the owner, you may do so. Clerk will need to administer the oath.
Do you affirm to tell the truth?
Sorry, let me start over. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tahir Suna. I hold the permit for both shops. Hayes, I think it's 8.4 and 8.5. I don't know if we get to that yet. So I emailed my full written statement to the clerk today and I asked that it be entered into the record. I asked you to continue this hearing. I got notice that a week ago over the holiday weekend to answer a case that city worked for 15 months. That's not a fair chance to get a lawyer or counsel. If you proceed, please follow your own code, section 5.580.120, make a first violation of suspension, at least 30 days. Revocation only comes on a third violation. This is a first violation, and 5.580.130, the only first offense revocation route does not apply because my permit issue in 2020 before the flavored tobacco ban exists. So the lawful penalty here is a suspension, not a revocation. I reserve all the right under Code of Civil, producer 1094.5. Thank you. Also, I just want to say something. Most of the flavored tobacco were seized. It's FDA approved. Literally, there's a lot of flavored tobacco were seized. It's FDA approved. And I've never sold any THC, any drugs, anything like that. It's just flavored tobacco. And I received a big violation from the state and I'm paying it. So I don't think it's fair to get my license revoked because of a one-time violation within 6 years. I've been a good shop, we never sold to anybody under 21 and over. We check IDs, and this flavored tobacco product, everybody were confused about it. And for the wholesale business he was talking about, yes, I did have a wholesale business back before the flavored tobacco ban. And I do have invoices, I have everything that actually is coming from that location. I have invoices for other people, not to the public, for people that actually hold license, legit license, that I have invoices, I sold it to them. So if the officer is saying this product was used for the public, that's not true. So all I'm asking is I need an extension, more time for that, because I think this is unfair to just revoke my license and get rid of my employees, get rid of my store. I don't think this is fair at all. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Before there's any further comment from staff or the attorney, I'm going to open the public hearing and take additional testimony. So is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak on this matter? Yes, please come forward.
Good evening, council members, fellow members of the public.
You'll need to be sworn in also.
Oh. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I swear. Good evening. My name is Myrna Champ. I am a family. My sister is married to Ted. He is my brother-in-law. I'm here speaking on behalf of myself, not as attorney, not as his attorney. I'm asking you to do two things. Continue this hearing. If you don't, follow your own ordinance. And if I want to answer what staff was just talking about, because a few of those points don't really hold up. First, notice. Staff pointed to the notice of intent from a month ago. That is not the notice that matters. Your own code, section 5.58.150 of Campbell Code Municipal Code, requires that the notice of tonight's hearing be mailed at least 10 days before the hearing. It arrived June 30th for a July 7th hearing, while it was also during a 4th of July weekend. Staff still has not told you the date that the hearing was actually mailed. I'd ask them to state it on the record right now.
You'll need to complete your testimony
Okay.
before any further
Second,
statements.
perfect. Second, staff said that full police record has been available to the council since last week. That actually proves our point. If the council itself only received the complete record last week, when the owner who got it days over a holiday did not have a fair chance to review it and respond. That is the fairness problems, not the answer to it. The city worked this case for over a year. The owner got a few business days notice. Third, staff said the owner could have more information. Respectfully, this is a de novo hearing. What that means is that the burden is on the city, not on him, who is the petitioner here. The owner here is, the city has to prove their grounds. It can't shift the burden onto him. Fourth, and most important, please look at the provision staff put on your screen for the tobacco permit. The city is relying on section 5.58.110. Read its own penalty, a civil fine of $250 to $1,000 per violation or nuisance abatement. It does not authorize revoking a permit. Revocation lives in section 5.58.120 and 5.58.130, and those apply to sales to minors violation or a permit that was wrongfully issued. This is neither. This permit was issued in 2020, more than two years before the flavored tobacco ban existed. So it was validly issued and the application was not false. So the city's own record does not support the revocation. At most, it supports a fine. I'm asking you to continue this hearing so it can be heard fairly. Thank you, and I'm asking the city not to revoke.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak on this matter? So I will invite the appellant to come back if you like for some additional comments. So I will close the phone.
Yeah, I have more comments. So again, my business has been established for over 6 years now. We've been following the code. No under 21 of age is allowed to enter the store. We have a big sign. I have my employees, everything we do is legit. We never had any violation. We never had any problems with that store. It's only one time this happened. Everybody was confused about the flavor ban. It just a one-time violation. So and most of the flavor that they took is FDA approved. They're saying it's illegal because it's not FDA approved. No, most of it was FDA approved. I can show you proofs. I can show you everything that it's FDA approved. If you go online, look at Juul, for example, it's the FDA approved. Zen is FDA approved. A lot of flavored cigar are FDA approved. So, and again, I've never sold any THC product, Delta 8 product, shrooms, anything like this. Never, and will never do. And also, all those things that they use for the heavy drugs, it's not allowed to be in my store. We literally, people come in and ask for it. We said, we don't have it, sorry, please don't come back again for it. So literally, we follow the law. We're good store. And I have a lot of customers that come and buy cigars, cigars. I have a lot of, from 40 years old to 70 years old. They come in and they're regular. They've been coming to my shops for a long time. They buy cigars. I can't just not sell cigars because I don't have a tobacco license. And this is my regulars, cigars, tobacco product. It doesn't have to be flavored tobacco. Okay, no flavored tobacco, but I have other tobacco items that I can sell. I have shisha. Shisha is 100% legal in California. Even flavored shisha is legal in California to sell because it's traditional. I have too many people, they come in and buy shisha tobacco. I just tell them, no, I don't have it. Please go to the next store. I can't just lose my business like that. I have to have a tobacco permit to sell these kind of items. It doesn't have to be just flavored tobacco. Okay, if I sold THC, if I sold stuff like this, okay, I'll tell you, yes, I'm sorry, I was wrong, but I've never done anything like that. All of this is a flavored tobacco. Okay, we're not selling it anymore. It's done. Do you coming at me a year and a half later to revoke my license? Yeah, that's it. So please just, I don't think revoking my license is an option. Yeah, maybe you can, I already have a big violation, I'm paying it. I have a big violation from the state, I'm already paying it. So revoking my license and pay my violation and have another 5 years lease with my landlord, pay him another my 5 because I have to get on my store just because one violation that everybody was confused about. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. So I will close the public hearing on this matter. Bring it back. I would like our city attorney to comment on the legal matters brought up and where we stand and what your opinion is on this matter.
That's a fairly broad question. The city council is charged with determining whether there is sufficient evidence to revoke the business license as well as the retail tobacco sales license. If you find that there was a violation of the law in the operation of this business, you can revoke the license. There was a comment that we had to wait until, I believe, the third violation. There is a provision in the statute that makes revocation mandatory after that number of violations. It does not proscribe imposing a revocation for one violation or two violations.
So what you're saying is that we're not prevented from revoking the license. It's just that after the third time, it's mandatory.
Correct.
Oh, okay. And okay. So thank you. I'll ask for any further comments right now by the council. Yes.
Yeah, so again, about these specific ones that are coming up right now, I ask, where's the victim? That's one thing, like, as far as I know, we got to take these by case basis, but is there any information, can anyone answer if there was an actual victim or somehow like a mom was upset that her kid, if there's been no violations when it comes to the other legalities, like, he was talking about how he always makes sure to ID, et cetera, and does all the state standards other than, you know, this flavored tobacco. So again, I'm very conflicted. I see someone who's learned a hard lesson, you know, a business member of our community, you know, and if he flies right from now on, if he learned a really hard lesson and he flies right from now on, and we continue our random inspections, I think that, you know, our smoke shops, all of them, well, let's hope that they'll get into compliance. So that's kind of where I feel about this. And I was just curious if anyone can see what I'm saying there, you know, like I believe in forgiveness, basically, you know, when it's not like straight up illegal, you know, like he has not, I mean, well, I guess flavored tobacco is illegal, but the information that's in front of us right now, I feel like we are lacking some information because of what I'm reading here. And, you know, that was a good picture. Like I understand, you know, both perspectives, I truly do. So I'm again at a loss, but I don't like the idea of eliminating businesses in Campbell, you know, which is at the lifeblood, and also it's their family's lifeblood, you know. So I heard a couple pretty compelling testimonies right now from owners and people who care about the owners in their shop. So I just like to see if there's any, you know, any agreements with my sentiments here, that maybe forgiveness, you know, if it wasn't like, to me, you know, it was, we're taking these by a case basis, am I right? So in this case, I'm not leaning towards revocation.
Oh, yes, Vice Mayor Biden.
Could a member of staff respond on the adequacy of the notice?
I can speak to that.
You should probably swear you in.
Oh, you want to do that?
I will do that.
You know the words?
I
Okay.
You affirm that the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do. So notices were sent to the property owners as well as the store via certified mail on June 26th. And then again on hold on, let me double check. July 2nd via certified mail.
And did we request a return receipt?
We did request a return receipt. So I pulled the tracking information for the notices that were sent on June 26th. Those were all received. It shows that it does show that they were delivered both on June 29th and June 30th. They were picked up from the post office on June 27th. They were postmarked June 26th.
And is that within the legal requirement of our code?
Yes.
Don't we normally have a 10-day or 15-day or something?
Yes, with regard to the business license, the notice has to be mailed only 5 days prior to the hearing date. With regard to the tobacco retail permit revocation hearing, it needs to be within 10 days prior to the hearing, and both of those meet those timeframes.
And then the owner referenced a couple of state violations, or he's paying on the state violation. Is that did he receive some kind of penalty from the state?
So the CDTFA, the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration, they do tobacco enforcement, flavored tobacco enforcement. And this case was referred to them instead of to the district attorney for prosecution. So instead of requesting criminal charges against the owner in this case, we provided them with all of the flavored tobacco products, which they destroy free of cost to the city. And they do go after the business owner civilly. I don't know the extent of that.
So that was probably what he was referring to then?
I would assume so.
Thank you.
While you're still there, I'm just going to ask you, could you just kind of repeat once again the violations that you actually found yourself?
The violation was for selling flavored tobacco products at a retail tobacco facility. I don't recall the long code off the top of my head, but I could provide it to you if you needed it.
And the date that you had that, that you saw the violation?
I believe it was in March of 2025, is that correct?
Okay, thank you. Can I ask for staff to respond on a suspension versus a revocation? Is that an option? Is there?
Yes, indeed, suspension is an option. In fact, it's mandatory. Mandatory for the first violation is a 30-day suspension.
And what does that exactly mean?
That means they cannot operate the business for
For
30
30
days.
No, no other, I mean, they can't sell other.
They can't sell tobacco products.
Councilmember Hines, did you have a comment?
I got that answer, that question answered.
sorry.
The second question on the response on the FDA approved, can I get the clarification on the meaningfulness of it being FDA approved?
So I'm no expert in FDA approval of these kind of products, but you know, the FDA is a federal body who approves certain products and foods for federal approval, but it has nothing to do with the state ban on it. It has no bearing on it whatsoever, and I don't think it is relevant.
Thank you.
Maybe I can clarify a little bit of what the gentleman was speaking about earlier, is that it is legal to sell certain.
Yes.
Oh, let the public record know this, that what the gentleman, the business owner, was talking about was that we do allow, the state does allow for certain flavored tobacco products to somehow be sold legally, even though there's a law against it. You can go to your local 7-Eleven and get yourself some Zins, which is tobacco pouches with flavor in it.
That's not true.
7-Eleven you can't buy. You can, trust me. Like, if you want to look into it, you can totally buy those products there. Trust me. And Juuls, which are technically, anyways, it's a whole thing, and it is confusing. He's not wrong about that, because certain places are able to sell certain things that are technically flavored tobacco products, but for whatever reason, they're okay. And so there's massive confusion. I agree 100% with the shop owner about that.
I'll ask the city attorney for an opinion. I thought flavored tobacco in California was illegal to sell in the state of California to anyone of any age.
That is my understanding. I can't say I've specifically researched the issue, however.
So a Zin, even though it is literally tobacco with flavoring that you put in a pouch in your mouth, that is not considered. I'm just saying that is sold at 7-Elevens and gas stations all over the place. And so that doesn't qualify. I'm just not aware of. Yeah.
So there are unflavored tobacco products that are legal for sale. You can buy unflavored Zin at any gas station, 7-Eleven. Those are they're specific products that do not fall underneath the flavored tobacco because they don't have a characteristic flavor characteristic profile, which is defined by the state. And that's where the flavored tobacco retail list came from. It was to establish which items are flavored and which ones are not. However, you cannot legally buy any flavored tobacco from 7-Eleven or anything like that. The owner did make a reference to shisha, which is a flavored tobacco product. It is one exemption to the law. It is a product that's made to specifically be smoked out of a traditional hookah smoking pipe where you have a big bowl and a thing on top and it's done at a tabletop. It's not something that is readily available for kids to run around and be using that.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I cannot call on anyone from the public. I've closed the public hearing. The matter is before the city council. Other comments by members of the council? Is there a motion?
I'll propose a motion to suspend the license.
For what period of time? The 30 days?
Is there a shorter
That's the 30 days is the mandatory amount of time.
30 days.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. I will not support this motion. I'm sorry, but flavored tobacco is illegal in the state of California, and I don't see a way around that. And so I will not support only a suspension. But we'll take a vote, of course. So roll call, please.
Councilmember Lopez,
No.
Councilmember Hines,
Aye.
Councilmember Scazola,
So this would be, I'm sorry, but this would be like kind of the minimal penalty that we're invoking here. If I vote yes to this?
The motion on the floor is to suspend the license for 30 days.
30 days, okay. And that did seem like kind of this, like minimum. Okay, I'm just gonna say aye. I think I'm a yes vote.
Vice Mayor Bybee,
No.
Mayor Furtado,
No. The motion fails. So
Get a vote.
Oh,
is,
I misread that.
is there another motion? I will offer a motion to revoke the license.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to revoke the license. If there are no other comments, I'll take a vote on this matter. Did you want to comment?
Oh, no, sorry.
Okay, I'll ask the clerk to call roll. Pardon me, I'll ask the clerk to call for the vote on this measure.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
No.
Councilmember Scazola,
No.
Vice Mayor Bybee,
Aye.
Mayor Furtado.
Aye. So for item 8.4, the license is revoked. We now move to item 8.5. This is a public hearing to consider the adoption of a resolution revoking the business license and tobacco retailer permit for Hayes Smoke Shop located at 2050 South Bascom Avenue in Campbell. I'm sorry, I had my microphone off, but I think you heard me. So once again, I'll ask Mr. Eastwood to provide the comment from the staff.
Mayor Furtado, council members, back with you again. This will be very similar to your prior item. Facts are similar, but distinctive to this case. Item before you today is, sorry, let me bring up the item. Is proposed business license revocation of Hayes Smoke Shop. I believe it's the same property owner. This business is located at 2050 South Bascom. The evidence before you today is a March 5th, 2025 inspection by Campbell Police. Large amount of flavored tobacco products were found for sale. In this instance, also a hidden room was found on site. There were receipts of flavored tobacco sales also found on site. Campbell Police Officer seized over 630 flavored tobacco items. Similar with the prior case, a notice of intent to revoke the tobacco retailer permit was sent on June 3rd. We did receive the appeal, which is brought before you today, the de novo hearing on the tobacco retailer permit on June 15th. Thus, the item before you today is to consider both the business license and the tobacco retailer permit. Similar to the last case, same business owner submitted the same email objecting and providing issues with respect to noticing errors in the resolution, evidence for the hearing. Staff has the same response as with the prior one, verifying that the notices were sent out in the proper time, 10 and 5 days prior to the hearing. Again, if you do move forward with the resolution, there is a very minor clerical error that we would ask you amend in the resolution. And again, as mentioned, the police documentation could be available if requested as the police investigation started on March 5th of last year. With that, staff is recommending that the council revoke the business license as at least 3 of the 5 findings can be made, revoking the business license, and that also you uphold revocation of the tobacco retailer permit, denying the appeal. I'm available for questions, as are our police officers. Thank you.
Any questions by members of council at this point? So, Councilmember Lopez, you're not asking.
Oh, no.
Okay, so now I will invite the appellant on this matter, 8.5, to address the council. And if you'd like to do so, you have 5 minutes to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, again, it's fair to revoke that license. Again, he said they only found 630 items. Again, it's most of it or whatever, it's if they approved. So also, I ask you guys to continue this hearing because I need more time to consider a lawyer for this matter. But I mean, again, section 5.58.120 doesn't make the first violation a revocation. It should be suspension. And again, when you said a suspension for 30 days, I think that's very fair. You can suspend me for 30 days, but not revoke my license for 1 year. Losing 2 stores just like that, it just really, really hurts. So I got a violation. I already learned my lesson not to sell flavored tobacco again. And again, we're not selling drugs, not selling THC, not selling any of the all the other stuff they were talking about. It's a flavored tobacco. Even if you read the law, it says if you sell flavored tobacco, it's not a crime. You will be into penalties. If you sell flavored tobacco, it's not a crime, but you'll be fined this much for each item, which is I got fined this much for this item. I'm paying a lot of money right now for my violations, but to just revoke my license, I don't think it's fair. I think it's unfair. Suspend my license for 30 days, no problem. I mean, I can manage that, but just to lose my whole license for 1 year, I don't think that's fair. Just give me more time. Let me fight that. Let me just do something. But just to lose my license, to lose my source, lose both locations, again, I don't think it's fair. Maybe you guys don't know a lot about flavored tobacco ban in California, but about a year ago or 2 years ago, everybody was confused about it. The whole, like each store in California was confused about it. Okay, I got a violation. I cannot sell flavored tobacco anymore. Yes, I'm not gonna sell flavored tobacco anymore. It's done. But I have other tobacco items I have to sell to survive. Like we have other tobacco items to sell to survive. They're not flavored. They're unflavored tobacco. As the officer says, there's a lot of unflavored tobacco. Yes, there's a lot of unflavored tobacco. This is what we're selling right now. So, okay, no flavored tobacco, no flavored tobacco. But there's other tobacco items we have to sell to survive. Just close my store and to do what? What should I do? Just get rid of my employees? I have a lot of employees. Just get rid of them, get rid of myself. How am I gonna take care of my family? How am I gonna take care of everything else? You know, I'm surviving right now without selling flavored tobacco. So that's the case. I'm surviving without selling flavored tobacco. Yeah, just please, just consider that not to revoke the license for that store, specifically that store. I don't want to get that tobacco license revoked. This store has been open for 6 years. It's been established. For one violation, just revoking license, yeah, just follow your code and give me a 30-day suspension. That's pretty much it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Is there does anyone else wish to speak on this? Yes.
I just want to, should I get sworn in again?
No,
Okay. I just want to speak to the legality of the revocation. The slide that was presented was pointing out to section code 5.58.110 that authorizes a fine, not a revocation. The only section that authorizes revocations are 5.58.120, which requires a third sales to minors violation, and 5.58.130, a wrongly issued permit. Neither one applies here. There's no sales to minors allegations, and the permit was validly issued before the flavor ban existed. If the council revokes anyways, it's acting without authority under its own ordinance. The other reasons that matter is that a revocation has to be supported by findings that tie the evidence to the section that actually authorizes the revocation. There are none here because no such section fits. Second, review. If it is challenged by writ under Code of Civil Procedure of 1094.5, the court asks whether the city proceeded in the manner required by law and whether the findings were supported by the decision. Revoking on 5.58.110, which only allows a fine, would not survive this review. Also, on the matter of the published list of the flavored list that came out, that list only came out in December. And the inspection was done months before in March, 9 months before the even list of approved, what was approved, not approved, from what was flavored and not flavored, that wasn't even out yet when they went through and rummaging, and this was still being figured out. This just got into play just barely this December. So that's another huge point. So the list didn't come out till December 31st, 2025 in this inspection. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak on this matter? Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. How are you guys? Fayaz Ahmed.
Do you affirm to tell the whole truth? Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. Hello, good evening. I'm just speaking in general to California Cigar, number 3. My friend just bought this business like a year ago. I mean, and this is his first violations. And this business has been in Winchester for almost more than 10 years. And he just bought it. He's just a young guy, just started for his family. And this is whatever violation he have a flavor product. He said he's sorry and he's ready to you can give him another chance. Just buy the business. Like not even.
I'm sorry, is this referring to the previous item on Winchester?
Yeah, that's for California.
I'm sorry, you're speaking on 8.3?
Yeah, for California Cigar.
We've already heard we've already taken action on 8.3. We're on 8.5 now.
Yeah, but he forgot to add something to.
But we've already taken action on 8.3. You can only speak on 8.5.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, I thought you were talking about this particular.
No. But also for him as well too. Like he's mentioned, tobacco product. It's been a chaos for everyone, and everybody tried to make a living. That's only businesses they have. So what else are they gonna do? I mean, besides, but at least like mentioned, fine, 30 days suspension. I think that's fair enough, but just put them out of business. I don't think that's fair. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak on this matter? Okay, well, the appellate can actually come back if you like for 3 additional minutes, since there's no other public testimony. It has to be 8.5. We've already taken action on 8.3.
Yeah, again, I'm sure like a lot of you guys don't really know about the flavored tobacco, and you're probably confused about it. Like what's right to sell, what's not right to sell. It's the whole thing is confusing. That's why, as she mentioned, in December of 2025, they came up with a list. California came out with a list. It's called the tobacco list or something. So what you can sell, and whatever is not in that list, you cannot sell. So California said, we're gonna provide the list, and what's nothing in that list, then you cannot sell it pretty much. So this is what I'm coming from. This is what I'm telling you. All the flavored tobacco is confusing to everyone. Okay, I got a violation. I'm paying that violation from the state. It's a huge violation, by the way. It's not a small number, and I accept it and I'm paying it. So now losing my store is another thing. I think this suspension is fair enough. To revoke my license is unfair. Unfair. From one violation, revoke my license. I've never had any violations. I've been open for 6 years, never had any violations. Never, never. Sometimes we had undercovers comes to the store and they check like, because they send decoys and undercover that's underage. We have to see their IDs. If they're under 21, we tell them, please do not come to the store again. Like, we follow the law. One violation, revoking license, I think that's unfair. So please just consider just suspension. Suspension, I'm happy with, I'm okay with. I can live 30 days with a suspension. But live 1 year with a revoking license, I think that hurts. That's too much. So yeah, please just, thank you.
Thank you. So I will close the public hearing on this matter, bring it back to council. I'll just make an initial comment myself. Since this is the second store of this person, you already taken action in one store. I'm willing on this particular motion to propose the 30-day suspension to allow him to remain in business to sell tobacco. That's just my opinion. I'm open to other comments.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. I think it's a good compromise. To lose both stores is totally brutal. That's just potentially life-ending for any businessman, So yeah, I would agree with the mayor.
Yeah, I concur as well, because I have two comments on this. Is that the event that had the issue was back it was over a year ago, March 2025. I'm not aware of any subsequent investigation in there. So that for duration of time experience, I think is a consideration. Absolutely, there should not be any selling of flavored tobacco. That's absolutely the case. But I just want to make those comments because I do agree with the suspension, as I had said before.
Other comments?
I just have a question. What's different with this one as opposed to the previous one? It's the same situation where they're selling illegal product.
I would say.
I'm sorry, I'm asking the mayor.
Oh, I did not know that. I thought it was general. Sorry.
Why? What difference is it with this one, suspending it rather than revoking?
Well, my only thought was this was the second business by the same owner. He apparently has no other means of support, and I was willing to consider that in this situation only. I will ask the city attorney once again to comment on the law. Several comments have made about, when lists were published, when they weren't published, whether the law was clear or not. And I have to rely on your opinion as to your understanding as to what and when. And I wonder if you could comment further on this whole matter.
It is my understanding that at the time that the inspection was made, that the list of flavored tobacco items had not been published. So there could have been some confusion at that period of time as to the products. Officer may know differently with that regard, but it's my understanding that the list had not been published. Whether that it was clear or not that what was being sold at that particular time qualified as flavored tobacco, the officer may have a better handle on that than I do. With regard to the ordinance that we're using, this is a model ordinance that was developed by, I don't know the nonprofit that developed it. It is not the most precise ordinance that we have on our books, I'll say that.
To clarify about the flavored tobacco list, I believe that the flavored tobacco was prohibited back in 2022 sometime. In January 1st of 2025, the Health and Safety Code 104559.5A1 defined characterizing flavor, which is the term that they use in the prohibition of flavored tobacco. It says characterizing flavor means a taste or odor distinguishable by an ordinary consumer either prior to or during the consumption of a tobacco product, other than the taste or odor of tobacco, including but not limited to tastes of or odors relating to any fruit, chocolate, vanilla, honey, candy, cocoa, dessert, alcoholic beverage, menthol, mint, wintergreen, herb, spice, or a cooling sensation distinguishable by an ordinary consumer during the consumption of a tobacco product. So as of January of 2025, prior to this case, they defined a flavored tobacco and what it is. And it's pretty apparent to anyone that if you're buying a flavored tobacco that is labeled as a fruit or a berry or some sort of dessert flavor, which is many of the items we found, that is a prohibited item. The purpose of the tobacco list is it's actually an unflavored tobacco list, and it's to clarify for certain things. For example, Camel Crush is kind of a vague item. It's if you smoke a Camel Crush cigarette, it is a normal tobacco flavored cigarette while you're smoking it, unless you crush the ball in the filter, which releases a menthol or cooling sensation. So in order to distinguish between these products that are vague or unclear, they started to create the unflavored tobacco list, which would allow items that are maybe uncertain to be justified as being lawful for sale. It's not a list that completely lists all the things that are prohibited, and the ones that are broadly apparent to people should already be well known that you cannot sell them.
No, at the very beginning, you said January of 22, but then it January 25. So I just wondered if you might.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was in January, but back in 2022 is when the flavored tobacco prohibition started. In January of 2025, the Health and Safety Code defined the term characterizing flavor to clarify, probably due to issues of uncertainty in the past. And so at the time that this case happened, that law had already been in effect for several months, and it pretty blatantly explains what is flavored.
Okay, thank you. That helps.
I have an additional question from the incident report. Comparing this one and 8.4, it was clear in the police report from the previous one that there had really been an intent to conceal this hidden room. Was that the case in this one?
So in this store, it was quite a bit larger footprint than the last one that we spoke about. There was a decent sized footprint of the store that sold mostly non-prohibited items. However, we did find some prohibited items on that display floor. And then there was a small room that was adjacent to the cash register where the employee could easily run back and grab the flavored items, and they were set up on shelves outside of boxes ready to go for someone to grab one with items missing from certain packages. And something of note for this location is there was a much larger room, probably double the size of the one from the last one that was found, that is in the same building. It was behind a closed door on either end of the shop. There was two doors that led into it, and the owner had posted his wholesale tobacco license on the door under a different name. And it was my intention that, or my belief that his intention was to try and protect that product that was back there from seizure. And at the time, the CDTFA gave guidance not to seize the wholesale items, as it was a separate store. However, when we did inspect that area, there was a lot of open packages that had single items missing. And it's my personal belief that he was restocking that small room that the cashier was selling items from, with the items that were, if you will, protected by this wholesale license that was adjacent to it. I would estimate that the items in that room that were not seized, in addition to the 600 or so that were seized, was probably in excess of 5,000 items.
And that warehouse license had the same address as the retail location?
It had the same address, but I believe it had a different name. I believe it was under like Black Wolf Wholesale or something along that line.
It's a long-time business.
Sorry.
I'm sorry about that. I just got.
Officer, this was in the March 2025 investigation that you
Yes,
did?
sir.
Okay, thank you.
Adds an entire different spin on this whole thing here. Any other comments?
Well, I am curious about a little bit more detail on, the wholesale aspect and what was found there. Like, so the majority of it was, I'm picturing kind of like big box shipping boxes filled with product or something of that nature, or how was it arranged? Because what I'm wondering is, anyone could go, like even me, I sell kettle corn. Well, I'll sample a bag of kettle corn from time to time. So I'm just saying, just because you have a box open, it doesn't necessarily mean guilt of selling those, right? You know what I mean? So
Sure.
I just want to, can you please paint me a picture of like the exact scene? And are there pictures of, that evidence?
Yes, there are. And there's body cam footage of us walking through the room. The vast majority of the boxes that were in there were open. It was common to see, like, if there was 2 boxes of the same item, that only one would be open. But the large shipping box would be open, and then the smaller boxes inside of that, and even like Zinn comes in what they call a roll. It's 5 packages in a plastic wrap thing. Those rolls were individually broken open. Whereas if you were selling wholesale to a buyer, another retailer, you would not break open a roll. You would sell it by the entire roll, or like as a carton of cigarettes would be sold. Retailers don't buy single packs of cigarettes. They buy cartons and cases of cigarettes.
And again, so was the amount, what I'm asking, and thank you for painting that picture, but like when you see the item, you said you'd see like 2 packages of like maybe these 5 rolls or whatever together, and one might be open. You said like you'd see that pretty commonly, that one package might be open versus another, like so half or more were still sealed, or?
I wouldn't say half or more were sealed or unsealed. I don't recall it specifically, but if you had one case of these individual rolls, half of the rolls would be missing out of the case, and several of them would be broken open, as it's been not like someone tried just one item out of an entire case. It's like it had been being depleted over time.
But technically, he could have sold half of the box at wholesale so long as they were in those like 5 pods as you're describing. Like if he was selling those one at a time out of the big box, like that could account for a disappearance of.
I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's typical to sell a roll at a time as a wholesaler. A wholesaler would normally be selling a whole carton, like a crate of them at a time. But however, that is a legitimate argument, I suppose.
And like, I'm just trying to picture, because, I could picture a small business to small business transaction, where, you might not be shipping like, oh, I don't need a whole crate. It'll take me a year to sell those, right? But like, selling like 1 or 2 of whatever at a time to another small business, I could see that happening.
So at the time, the CDTFA was giving guidance to the business owners, and the owner and I spoke about it as well, that they were only to be selling wholesale out of state for flavored tobacco items. And so I suppose that some small retailer may order 2 5-roll Zins to be mailed all the way out of state, but I don't think that's his typical or practical business model.
Okay.
Okay. What is the pleasure of the council? Want to talk about this more in terms of?
Go ahead.
Well, no, go ahead.
I'm going to propose a motion.
Oh, great. I hope it's the one that I was going to.
I propose a motion to suspend the license for 8.5, the Hayes Shop at 2050 South Baskin.
And if I may,
for
for clarification, that would include changing the name on the title of the resolution to the Hayes down, no, is it Hayes? Which Hayes are we talking about here? Hayes Smoke Shop, and revising the last line of the resolution to state that the instead of stating revokes the business license and tobacco retail permit, to state suspends the business license and tobacco retail permit for Hayes Smoke Shop located at 2050 South Bascom Avenue, California, for 30 days.
So I will repeat that to, I propose a motion to revoke, to suspend the tobacco retailer permit and business license for Hayes Smoke Shop located at 2050 South Bascom for 30 days.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I do have a comment myself. I mean, I know what I had said earlier. I'm a little concerned about the volume of material that was stored there and its purpose. And that I find that troubling, quite frankly.
May I?
Yeah.
You know, just any business, you often have a huge volume of product, you know, and so I personally feel that he's expressed himself very well, and it really, truly, you know, asking for us to do this, he already basically lost the other shop, you know, and that I do genuinely feel he's learned his lesson, and I do not think that he'll be doing this ever again. And even if he does, it's our due diligence, and thank you, Campbell PD, for doing these random checks to ensure that our community is safe and that everyone's selling the legal products. So I just would respectfully ask that you don't think about the volume. You know, it's just going to be replaced with volume of, you know, legally sold tobacco.
Yeah, well, the volume is significant because I mean, flavored tobacco was actually illegal since 2022. It's the owner's responsibility to know that. If I'm correct, I mean, the owner is responsible for knowing state law, whether they know it or not. They're responsible to know it, and they. You know, I'm sorry, but I've closed the public hearing. The matter is only before the council, and we're the only ones that can talk about it now. You've had your opportunity, and I'm following what the law is and what I'm required to do. So.
Yeah.
Yes, you are correct, Mayor Furtado, that all persons are charged with presumptively knowing the law.
Thank you.
I'll just reiterate my comments that I said before, that
Sure.
this violation was for March 2025, and it was a first violation in March 2025. I also reiterate again that I'm adamant about following state law and not selling any flavored tobacco. But because of the duration of time since then, and the CDTFA find that they're paying, I support a suspension. And so that was my motion.
Sure. Yes.
Just one last comment. I also would, this hasn't been brought up yet, but I would think about the possible time that would be tied up and the cost to the city if like any, you know, I don't know if any legal things might happen. Like I personally feel like, I know we put in ordinances and there is the state law, of course, but I don't ever want us to overreach, you know, potentially. And I don't know if we're doing that right now, but for me, it feels kind of shaky. And so anyways, that's another reason why I seconded that motion. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll call for the vote at this time. Ask the clerk to call for the vote on whether the motion on the floor is to suspend the license for 30 days.
Councilmember Lopez.
No.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Scazola.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bybee.
No.
Mayor Furtado.
Aye. So the license is suspended for 30 days. I will say I'm troubled by this whole matter, but I'd like to give you a chance to correct this matter.
I just have a question. So the tobacco product, the flavored tobacco product.
So now we go to item 8.6. And this is a public hearing to consider the adoption of a resolution to revoke the business license for Sage Smoke Shop located at 484 West Hamilton Avenue, Campbell.
Mayor Hurtado, council members, Rob Eastwood with you again. Acknowledgement on the next two items, they're a little different. Both of these items, you do not have an appeal of the tobacco retailer permit. So solely before you for these two items is revocation of the business license. In both instances, at the administrative level, staff issued a notice of intent to revoke the tobacco retailer permit. They were forwarded a 15-day appeal period. The city did not receive an appeal. So in effect, for both of these businesses, and we'll go one at a time, the tobacco retailer permit has been rescinded. You are solely reviewing and deciding if you should revoke the business license. As mentioned, the business license revocation item for you is Sage Smoke Shop, 484 West Hamilton. The evidence presented before you as grounds to revoke the business license is two inspections by Campbell Police. First was on March 5th, 2025. A large amount of flavored tobacco products were displayed for sale at the business in question, and Campbell Police did seize 959 tobacco flavored items. There was a second inspection on January 20th of this year. During that inspection, plainclothes officers that visited the site were offered flavored tobacco products for sale. Again, no appeal was received of the revoked tobacco retailer permit. Thus, before you tonight is only revocation of the business license, but in effect, they do not have a license to sell tobacco. Staff believes, based on the violations presented of selling flavored tobacco, and not one, but twice, two instances, that there is grounds, and staff recommends to revoke the business license based on the three grounds highlighted on the screen before you. With that, I'm available for questions, as is Campbell Police. Thank you.
Questions? Yes.
So Rob, the business license that was issued for this business, was it for tobacco sales, or is it, are there other things that are going on there?
Yeah, that's a great question, Councilmember Bobby. I don't have all the information before me. If they have, I mean, effective today, they cannot sell tobacco. Do they, as typically it's a smoke shop sells retail items related to paraphernalia. There might be some prohibitions on selling some of those if they're that closely related to tobacco. But there might be availability of just to do some retail sales in this instance.
And so they didn't renew their license. Do we know why they didn't renew their license, or was that prior to the revocation of the tobacco permit?
We did get that information from finance. I don't have any information why they did not renew their license.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, just a clarifying question on that. That was, they did not review their tobacco license?
Did not renew the license. I know that generally
there's two licenses. Which license didn't they?
I'd have to look it up. I believe they might not have renewed both. I'll have to open the case. Typically, there's a staying period that Campbell has once your expiration has come up, that you can come in within a certain period to renew, and that staying period is still open.
Gotcha. Okay.
But in the interim, based on the violations, the administration has revoked the tobacco retailer permit as of right now.
Thank you. Did you want to make some comments?
So in regards to this case, I'd just like to comment on the two inspections we did here. The first one was a normal inspection where we walk in and they're aware that we're there and we're checking for the items. And that was when we had a large seizure. At the time, the business owner told me that he had recently purchased the business and he was trying to figure everything out. We had a lot of excuses about the flavored tobacco stuff, and we talked to him extensively on his permitting, licensing, the regulations of the signs he needs to post, and the sale of flavored tobacco products. When we returned, it was actually on a minor tobacco decoy op where a minor went in to purchase tobacco. And I was there with the minor in plainclothes. They had a display of Zyn like a Zyn the rack on the counter that displayed multiple flavors, but it was completely empty. While the decoy was trying to exit the store, it's quite a distance from the front of the door to the counter where he attempted to make a purchase. The employee asked me if how he could help me, and so in order to buy time for the decoy to exit the building, I asked him, or I did inform him that I was looking for a Zyn product, as I saw that the rack was empty, hoping that he would offer one for sale. He went into the back room and pulled out a whole box of different assorted Zyn flavored tobacco products. He offered one for sale to me, which I purchased. At that point, I called in the rest of the uniform officers. While they were responding in, the employee went back into that enclosed room, which we later found there was a large safe back there. And when we went into the room, the entire box that he had offered for display was no longer accessible, and he refused to open the safe. Based on my previous conversation with the owner when we first contacted him, I believe when we did this initial inspection where we found the majority of these products that were seized, there was a party there who was not identified. He claimed to just be picking something up from the business, but he was very well aware of what's going on. He was laughing at us, and he was refusing to cooperate with us and identify himself. The cashier at the time said that he was not an employee at the business, so we didn't push the issue of identifying him. However, here I have a body cam image pulled up from one of our body cams that day, and I do believe that the gentleman here that I'm referring to is the gentleman that just spoke up here. I'd like for you to come up and tell me if this is you or not, because it really does look like it is for you. Would you like to see the photo? Okay.
Oh, yes, that's okay.
Also, it's my belief, based on seeing him in person both times, that there's the same party.
Did you say tonight he was the person?
He did.
Oh. Okay, so this matter is before the council, yes.
I have a question. So how did this person get a business license, and what was the business license issued for? If the previous owner of Dreamy Exotics isn't the owner any longer?
I heard Director Eastwood, yes. Oh, I'm having trouble with names tonight. I heard Director Eastwood's testimony was that there was an application pending for a business license. I don't know if it has been granted or not.
But what is it for? If the tobacco retailer permit was revoked?
The only evidence I have is that there has been received in finance an application for some sort of retail permit on the property. Something like a mini mart, that's all we've received. I do want to reinforce that the tobacco retailer permit on file is the one that has been subject to the violations, and we sent all notices to the property owner and the owner of the business that's on file with the city today.
And have we recently inspected the business to see what's going on there? Has there been a recent inspection of the business to see what it is that they're selling or doing there?
Absent the testimony you received from Chief Berg and Detective Palmer, you might provide more. I'm not aware of anything else.
The most recent police report we have from the business was from February 10th of this year, where we had patrol officers that went there on a call for service, and they seized over 425 flavored tobacco items. And
But according to this individual that spoke, he said that he opened the business in April. So what I'm asking is, has there been an inspection of the business since he claims?
We have not had an inspection of the business since then. We wouldn't even be aware that it had changed ownership since it hasn't been issued. And also, it's also very labor intensive to do these inspections.
Well, it seems like if there's a problem with the business and the tobacco retailer permit has been revoked, that there should be some attention to what supersedes what business moves in there.
I think that the tobacco, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that the tobacco retail permit was just recently revoked after that April date.
So all of the inspections took place prior to the current owner of the business?
I can't really speak to who the owner is, but that's what it seems like, yes.
So are we looking to revoke the tobacco license has already been revoked, and we're looking to revoke the business license as it exists today on the books. Is that right? Okay.
I actually had a question about that. In his testimony, the person who identified himself as the owner did state that he was here to appeal the tobacco license. Is that a valid outcome of this proceeding, potentially, for our city attorney?
Excuse me, I was reviewing the code, so could you repeat the question?
During his testimony, the person who identified himself as the owner stated that he was here to appeal the tobacco license. The item is agendized for the business license revocation. Is that a request, a possibility? I just want to be clear on what we can consider or not.
The tobacco retailer permit has been revoked by there being no appeal from the notice of revocation. That was properly noticed because the code requires it to be sent to the applicant at the address on the permit. So,
and it was, and that is the business address?
Correct.
Okay.
So then what we're looking to revoke is the business license from somebody who owns for that business. We're looking to revoke the business license.
You're looking to revoke the business license for the particular business stated in the report.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thanks. I guess I'm a little confused. I'm not sure because, I know that certain licenses are able to be transferred over, whereas others are not, and you have to get brand new ones. So where does this fall? I'm a little confused on is this new owner still under the last license or they got a new license? I'm a little confused on that. Some clarity on that.
Yeah, they would not be able to obtain a license for tobacco retail.
But I think we're asking what is the business if it's not selling tobacco? That is definitely a question that I have is what is it currently? And is that a all separate, business license? What are we, I'm very confused. I'm sorry, but yes, I just want some clarity.
And yes, the current or the person claiming to have acquired the business would need to get a new business license.
That makes sense.
But there is no tobacco license?
There is no tobacco retail license allowed for that premises for a period of 1 year.
So I'd like to make a suggestion at this point. I would recommend that for this item, we continue to the next available date for a few reasons. One of them, I think, first and foremost, the issue at question that we dealt with on the previous ones of both, in this case, the psilocybin, which is especially serious, but moreover, the flavored tobacco. The illegal items have been seized and the flavored tobacco is moved because the tobacco license in any case has been revoked. I think there are outstanding questions about what it sounds like is a permit that is sitting now at finance that I would like our staff to get more time to review. And while I trust that our staff do their due diligence, it would also give more time for noticing for the next hearing. So that would be my recommendation at this stage, given the outstanding questions that it doesn't seem like we'll be able to resolve up here with my appreciation for all the work. This site stood out to me as by far the most egregious of the 5 up here, and there were significant resources and police work and many incidents that went into that. You just shared another, and there were, I think, 4 in the staff report. So I appreciate that, but I think that would be best at this stage.
I guess from my standpoint, that the most egregious aspect of this is selling psilocybin, which is, and I think that's under the current business license. The tobacco license already has been revoked. I would contend it should proceed ahead to revoke the business license because that business was selling psilocybin.
Yes.
Yeah, so for me, I agree with Councilmember Lopez that this is clearly the most egregious one, you know, and for us to be consistent, or council, even though I abstained, council decided to revoke, and I know we already revoked the tobacco. This does, long story short, I do feel like we need to revisit this because I feel like there's some missing pieces or something like, you know, it doesn't seem like I'm the only one a little bit confused up here.
City manager.
Can I just clarify with the business license? Business licenses are non-transferable. So any new owner is going to have to get a new business for whatever use he's intending to use there. The tobacco retailer permit has been revoked. The business license that's tied to that use is also being proposed to be revoked and recommended by staff. There's a new owner on the property and they want to exercise some new use on that property, they would obtain a new business license for them, and there would be nothing that prohibits them from doing so by our actions this evening.
So as the gentleman indicated that he apparently leased the business, leased the operation in April, I'm curious, was there any obligation or what was going on? Or, I mean, is the police reporting that since this person acquired the business, there was nothing that was legal about operating anything because there was no valid business license and there was no valid tobacco license. Am I correct with that?
This is simply a follow-up to the revocation on the tobacco retailer permit. The business cannot operate and sell tobacco as it sits here today, and this is a formality to also revoke the business license associated with that use. If a new owner wants to apply for a business license for a new use, they would be open to do that.
I have one more question for the attorney. Does the owner of the building have any responsibility in the matters before us tonight?
The owner would not have any involvement in the decision to revoke any of the permits. The owner could be held legally responsible for what was taking place on his premises in a prosecution for a criminal action.
Thank you. You know,
Could I ask a follow-up, Brian, just to make sure I understand your question, or to make sure I understand your comments. In essence, any action we take is really tied to the previous operation of the business, not any new owners. Okay.
Well, I was inclined also to indicate the same thing you did, sort of continue this and discuss it further. However, it does seem clear that there is no tobacco license and there is a new business license. I would imagine then the current business license simply should be revoked and the whole matter be reconsidered. And it seems to me that the owner of the building has a certain level of responsibility of what kind of business is coming in there, who you're leasing it to, what the purpose is, or do they have the proper permits? Now, that's just my opinion. I am not an attorney, but I'm just offering that comment. Since you yourself commented to us, I'm offering another comment back to you with all due respect. So,
and yes, my perspective on this is also that the business license that we're reviewing you here is the business that had this psilocybin.
That is correct, because we can't revoke the new business license because it's
Right.
only an application.
Right.
So if your motion is.
Well,
to
let's
revoke-
not, and I don't want to
Yes.
presume that the new business license would be doing anything like that. I'm just saying that the old business license, the current business license. So what I'd like to propose a motion is to revoke the license, the business license for Dreamy Exotics located at 835 Union Avenue.
I'll second.
And if I could just make a very brief comment, I would support that for mayor for the reasons that you said. I think now that I understand better from the city manager, that is helpful.
We have a motion and a second before the council to revoke the current business license. There is no tobacco license. If there's no other comments by the council, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Scazola.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bybee. Mayor Furtado.
Aye. Thank you. That concludes these 5 items. The council's going to take a brief break here. We'll come back and resume and consider the following items on our agenda.
that side and got junk. But without breaking that.
We will resume. Agenda listed under new business actually should have been listed under public hearings because it met the qualification for that. So item 9.1 will now be considered item 8.8. And sir, I know you've been here waiting a long time. I apologize for the fact of this mix-up. We should have heard this at the very beginning of these, and it was an error, and I offer my apology. So this is the placing the cost of abating hazardous vegetation on the property tax rolls. Once again,
I'll open the
Rob
item.
Eastwood will make the presentation.
Frequent flyers
Thank you.
tonight. Rob Eastwood, Community Development Director. Every year you have 3 hearings on weed abatement. This is your 3rd. The items before you tonight is simply to take action to put on tax rolls the costs for the abatement of the properties that you heard back in February, which is 75 properties to abate weeds. Just some note, you did take testimony in that meeting. You gave direction on how to address certain properties. Everything I've understood from our county weed abatement officer, those actions have been taken. Again, simply today is the measure to pay for the abatement of those. With that, I have nothing further to add. We do have the county weed abatement manager here, Garrett, who can answer any questions, and of course has been waiting patiently. Thank you.
Any questions from council, first of all? No questions. I will open the public hearing and invite anyone to speak on item now called item 8.8, 8.8, placing the cost of abating hazardous vegetation on property tax assessment roll. Would anyone like to address the council on this matter? No one's online, I presume. Okay. Close the public hearing and bring it back to council for discussion or motion. I will actually make the motion that the city council adopt a resolution placing the cost of abating hazardous vegetation on the property tax assessment roll.
I'll second.
Motion by me, second by the vice mayor. If there's no further comment, roll call, please.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Scuzola.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bybee.
Aye.
Mayor Furtado.
Aye. That does conclude now the public hearings. Thanks for your attendance tonight once again. Also, so now we go to new business, and the item we have here now is the authorization to submit a One Bay Area Grant, OBAG application. And Matthew Jew will make the presentation. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Furtado, members of the City Council. The VTA has issued a call for projects for the One Bay Area Grant Program. After considering a number of projects, staff is recommending submitting one grant application, and that is for the Campbell PDA Enhancements Phase 3 project. This project would reconfigure the intersection of Civic Center Drive and Harrison Avenue. It's the signalized intersection next to the Campbell Library. Current condition of the intersection, it's skewed. It has a large triangular island that splits Harrison Avenue and has high traffic speeds turning onto and off of Harrison Avenue. The proposed project would reshape the intersection to a normal T intersection, eliminate the large island in the middle, and spur off the corners of the intersection to slow down traffic. The project cost estimate is $1.77 million. Congressman Sam Liccardo secured a $250,000 federal grant so that the unfunded portion of the project is now $1.52 million. The grant program requires a minimum local match of 11.47%, but staff is recommending a 21% local match due to the competitive nature of the grant program. General Fund and Measure K are potential fund sources for the local match. Should the city be awarded a grant for the project, staff will return at a future council meeting to recommend the fund source for the local match. And that completes my presentation.
Any questions for Matthew? Do you know offhand if the city actually did get the grant and therefore we would pay for 21%, or approximately what that would be?
$320,000.
320,000. Okay, great. Thank you. I guess no comments at the present time. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this matter, the application? Thank you. Seeing none, what is the pleasure of the council? Well, I will make the motion that the city council adopt a resolution authorizing the public works director to submit the One Bay Area Grant, Cycle 4, OBAG 4 program, grant application for the Campbell Priority Development Area, PDA, enhancements, Phase 3, project PDA, Phase 3.
I'll second.
The motion and a second. Any comments? Okay, please call the roll. Thank you.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Scazola.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bybee.
Aye.
Mayor Furtado.
Aye. We now go to the next item, the authorization of fiscal year 2026-27 Measure O tax rate resolution. Our Director of Finance will give the staff presentation.
Thank you.
So I'm here before our council to seek approval for the FY27 hydro tax rate. It's I think that we take to council each year. As the council and the public will recall, public approved in 18 a geo bond up to 50 million in a total to construct a new police building that is now open, and also to construct a new library as well. As a part of a geo bond. Okay, we'll had to issue the debt to pay for the two projects, and incurred debt payments of about 2.6 million in total per year. They are set to end in FY 2050 of 51, and until that time, the debt payments are funded by a tax on property on the public. I show I showed the tax rate amounts on the start, and that they were low upfront, and they increased over time to a certain point, and now that I've also seen an increase in AV amounts. They are expected to stay the same for, well, they're proposed to stay the same for the current year, and also the next year as well, and then over time they're planned to increase. So before a council is the recommendation to keep the rate unchanged at 17 hours per 100 K of AV, and I will end and take any questions from the council or also the public.
Thank you. Any questions at this point by members of the council? Okay.
I just did have a question on the last slide, if you could pull that back up. You show it as $17 per 100,000 for 26, 27, and you feel that the trend is going to, that's going to diminish over time, which is terrific, and it's already below the original estimate. So that I'm asking for confirmation.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So over time, assessed of valuations are expected to increase, and if they they do increase, and they are able to bring down the rate over time. If they continue on the current trend, at the end of the debt, they could be about $8 per I don't know, in 80.
Very good, with a gradual transition.
Yeah. Very well.
There's no other questions. Thank you. Ask for public comment, and I do have some numbers.
Okay. Good evening, Steve Saunders, Campbell property owner. Hello, mayor, vice mayor, council members. Again, I'm going to ask you to adopt an ordinance. Now, the ordinance, just because it's really hard to undo, even if it's hard to do, to limit the reduction in the tax rate to no more than 2% every year. Now, the staff report just shows that we're going to have $17 per 100,000 for this recommendation for this year and next year. Subsequent to that, what I envision or what I'm requesting is that that next rate after that would not be any lower than $16.66 or 67 cents per 100,000. That would correspond to a 2% reduction in it. That offsets the 2% automatic increase that every property is given now. So the net effect of all of that is if this were adopted and the council and staff chose to follow it, that each year the rate would drop, the base, every house would be raised 2%. The dollar amount that any taxpayer would have to pay would remain constant until the thing was retired. So what I've done with this graph that I've shown to you is to look at, first of all, the green line kind of down towards the bottom is the same thing you saw in your staff report. Or mathematically, it better be the same thing. The middle line is my proposal to limit the reduction to be 98% of what it was last year or down 2%. That shows another declining line. And the last one, the top one across the top, is the staff report mentioned the possibility of just maintaining $70. You didn't get one? So basically, there's three different approaches. The one that essentially pays the minimum, we pay all the way through. If we limited the reduction to offset the property tax increase, we get done a couple of years earlier. And if we did 17%, we've done 5 years earlier. That does not count interest on that money, which would come in. And it doesn't talk about calling things. It's just a way to guide the future. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? I did have a follow-up sort of comment question to your testimony myself, actually. Okay. This bond is scheduled to go for another 25 years. So people who are currently the owners, if they followed what I think you're saying, they'd be sort of paying sort of a higher rate. The real benefit would come in the latter part of the years when many of the owners either wouldn't be here or they may have sold their property in the meantime. So the new owners or the surviving persons would benefit from the sacrifice that people presently would have to make because they'd be paying a higher amount. In other words, it's not, yes, you finished it earlier, but the people alive today or owning the property today seem to pay more now, and they may not be here to see the benefit that many years later.
I disagree. Basically, we have two new facilities. And as you note, by slowing the rate drop, people pay more in front. That's where the maximum benefit from our new facilities will come. If you get out 25 years, we may be starting to feel a little cramped, or the wood out here needed to be treated more or something. So I would argue that moving the payments closer to now is actually more representative of where the benefit for the community would be.
This is really similar to close public comment and bring that up. We're all so eager to speak tonight.
Yeah, well, I just moved to authorize the 2026 Measure tax rate as presented by staff.
I'll second.
A motion and a motion and a second. Any further comment?
I'll just make a.
Yes, of course.
I'll just make a brief comment. Steve, I know you've shared before at our party setting session. I think it's an idea that's worth continuing to discuss. As you know, the rate for next year is planned to be the same. And so it doesn't preclude us from, or really future councils from considering that. So I appreciate your advocacy. And without predisposing myself, I think it's worth at least discussing. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no other comment, roll please. Thank you. Appreciate the roll call.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Scazola.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bybee.
Aye.
Mayor Furtado.
Aye. Okay. So now we move on to the item that had been listed as 9.4, third-party building plan, the third-party building plan check and inspection.
Honorable Mayor, council members, I promise this is the last time I'll speak to you tonight. Given the lateness in the hour, I'm going to try and keep this pithy and quick. As you know, we maintain a bench of third-party consultants to support our building division in plan check and inspection. The need sometimes is expertise. If we need a structural engineer, which we don't have on call, or if there's a surge in permits where it overwhelms our staff and we need to send it out for third-party plan check or inspection. Our current list, which was established in 2023, is expiring. We went through a procurement process early this year, reached out across the state to ask for new firms who would like to be on our list. We got a big response in folks asking to be on the Campbell third-party list. From that list, our building official and staff has reviewed and recommended that the city move forward with executing agreements with 6 consultants that will provide third-party plan check and inspection. We are asking for more consultants and a bigger budget over the next 3 years. 3 things driving that. Number one, we've learned having a deeper bench helps out on flexibility on the type of service you need versus a smaller bench. So having 6 firms can provide that skill set for the type of project that comes in. 2, we ventured more into using third-party inspection, which our building official has found helps out, especially with big projects like townhomes where you have one dedicated person to inspect it, and you can free up our inspectors to deal with the diversity of other projects. And 3, as you know, due to our own ambitious housing element and the state's ambitious housing goals, we've seen a progressive increase in housing permits coming through the city over the last couple of years, at least a 9% growth in building permits coming through the building division. All 3 of those factors point to an increased need for third-party inspection and plan check and to support our customers. Would like to remind our council, all funds that pay for this service are paid for by permit fees and plan check fees that come into the building division. Thus, there is no impact on the general fund of the city. With that, I'll wrap up and do recommend that you adopt the resolution approving the consultant service agreements for the 6 firms and authorize the city manager to amend, negotiate, and execute the service contracts. I'm available for questions. Our building official, Bob Lennon, has also been patiently waiting, and he's available for questions also. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? No questions. Does anyone wish to speak on this matter? Seeing no requests, what is the pleasure of the council?
I'll move the staff recommendation.
Second.
Motion by the Vice Mayor, second by Councilmember Lopez. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Scrizzola.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bybee. Mayor Furtado.
Aye. Thank you. We now move to the next item, the resolution approving the new classification specification for the city attorney. And I'm thinking city managers, oh, I'm sorry, the personnel director, Amy, I apologize. Yeah.
No worries. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council members. I'm Ada Chang, Human Resources Manager. The item I'm bringing forward to you today is a resolution approving the new job specification for city attorney. As you know, our longstanding city attorney, Bill Seligman, will be retiring at the end of this year. And since his appointment as city attorney in 1987, Mr. Seligman's firm has provided legal services to the city in an of-counsel relationship with Atchison, Barrisone, and Condati law firm. Mr. Seligman's contract does include a monthly retainer fee covering 100 billable hours per month, with additional hourly fees for additional or excess services that are in excess of covering the monthly retainer. On March 31st, City Council expressed an interest in transitioning the city attorney role to a full-time in-house attorney model and directed staff to develop an appropriate city attorney job specification. So the recommended city attorney classification specification being brought forward to you today reflects the current city attorney's duties and adds additional breadth that would be expected for a full-time in-house position. It's also understood that at the time of recruitment, the city council can direct staff to advertise the position to encompass all areas of municipal law or focus on candidates with specific specialty areas who can still oversee consultants or other staff handling other areas pertaining to municipal law. This position will be appointed by and report to city council, and they will also serve in the city's executive leader as the city's executive leader in all legal matters pertaining to the city. So with that concludes my presentation. I'm open to any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Ada. Questions by the council? Does anyone wish to speak on this matter? Apparently not. So what is the pleasure of the council?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the resolution approving the new classification specification for city attorney.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. If no comment, roll call.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Scrizzola.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bybee.
Aye.
Mayor Furtado.
Aye. Thank you. Item number 10, we have no unfinished business. We now go to council committee reports. So who would like to start? Councilmember Lopez, would you like to start?
Sure. VTA held a special, technically it's a regular meeting, but on June 26th, Friday morning, which is not our usual time, but in lieu of a July meeting, as we're off for the summer. So a major item on that was a big decision on the BART project. Essentially, the decision was made to break what was previously a large, upwards of almost $5 billion with a B dollar contract for the BART project into a relatively smaller only $2.4 billion, but 400 million of which was voted on. And the idea is to break that up into smaller pieces that more bidders can potentially bid on and get a better price for it. It did result in significant several hundred millions of dollars in savings for that project while keeping the work along on schedule. So I think that was that's my main report.
Still has a lot of zeros after it.
Yeah.
Councilmember Hines.
Yeah, Sergeant Matt Ryan described the incident around the Police Officers Association labor meeting on June 10th at our last council meeting. He said a council member yelled at police vehicles and implied to officers they should leave the community center. Sergeant Ryan felt employees will feel hostility or criticism exercising their lawful rights for collective bargaining. I asked the staff to conduct an investigation of the council members' actions on June 10th. I asked to specifically review if there is any California code violation of employer interference by the council member. I propose a motion to agendize the review of the council members' actions on June 10th.
I think we have a lot of staff time that doesn't need to be wasted on something like this, especially when you don't know the full story and its accuracy or veracity.
Can the council member elaborate on the full story?
No, but I will tell you that city manager and me have had a long conversation and others as well. So I'd be happy to have a conversation with you as well, but this is inappropriate in my mind.
All I can say is that this is the second time that a member has approached the dais or the podium with allegations about a council member's behavior. And in order to respond to the public in a transparent way, the true facts should be investigated so that the council can respond appropriately. To receive comments at an oral request where the council is not able to defend itself or defend the council member really puts us in a very awkward position.
I'll comment briefly. I don't know anything at all about this beyond what was said in public. I don't have the facts. Given that it is something, the comment that was made that has implications for how the council is represented, I will second that motion. I think, as was said, if the full story is not known, then it will come out. And if there's nothing to it, then that will come out, and I'm fine with that.
Ryan, any comments on this? Like, okay, well, no.
So Mayor, I have, I proposed a motion and there is a second.
There is a motion in a second, yes. I was calling for any more comments, currently not. I will just say that I think any further action warranted on part, and I will vote no on this motion. Yes, roll please.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Scazola.
No.
Vice Mayor Bybee.
Aye.
Mayor Furtado.
No. The motion is passed, so ask the city manager to agendize the matter for further discussion.
I'm sorry, Councilor Bybee, your microphone was off. I just wanted to know.
I'm sorry, I said aye.
Sorry.
Thank you for pointing that out. I have nothing to report this time.
And I have nothing further to report. So after a very long evening, I thank everyone who's still here, and but we are going to stand adjourned. Thank you.
Minute for 11.